and welcome to tonight's Boise State Esports broadcast. I'm your host, Jacob Jem Mountain Palmer, and tonight we have our collegiate rival series, Boise State versus Utah State, in two great games tonight. We are going to start with Overwatch and then move on to Rocket League. As you can see, no doubt, around the arena, we are in the Halloween spirit for everything here, bringing all sorts of spooks and specters your way, as well as some great esports gameplay from our athletes on the stage right now. And joining me to help call some of the Overwatch action that's going to be happening tonight, I am joined by a face that is no doubt familiar to those Boise State Overwatch fans. I have got Madison Nerdy Bird Benj joining me today on stage. It is great to have you back, Nerdy, along with production that we can see here as well as on stage. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been forever since you and I have cast together, so I'm super excited to be able to do this tonight with you.
It is very exciting to have you back with us, and I'm going to toss the first question to you like this. Obviously, as we can no doubt see by the jack-o'-lantern next to you and that nice transition, we are in the Halloween spirit, and in terms of things that are spooky and frightening, I can think of nothing more frightening to our opponents than how good Boise State has been on Overwatch lately. Let's look at the statistics. I mean, they, in the two tournaments, you know, NECC and NACE, in one I think they were 5-1. They're undefeated in the other. Yesterday against Illinois Wesleyan, we saw them take a 3-0 victory. They have just been on fire. And I'm sure as someone, when you are on the team making your way to the Mountain West Finals, that's something that is a familiar position for Boise State.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But this year alone, I can definitely say across the board with all the teams that Boise State has gone against and Boise State, like the level of skill and gameplay expected from everybody involved with these tournaments has been definitely elevated, partially due to the fact that we have a lot more time available to practice on our own and together. So thank you, COVID, for allowing us to return to our caves, I guess, a little longer. But I'm pretty sure Boise State is not going to let us down tonight. Their gameplay record is phenomenal, and it's going to continue to show its way. Even if they don't come out exactly on top tonight, they're going to bring their best to the table. Well,
talking about a little bit of return to normalcy in these times, football is back, and with that is the Gridiron Rival Series. For those of you who don't know, when the football teams play, the esports programs compete in the tournaments just for fun match against the two, and we have done this for the past few years. It's always been great, and especially battling a regional rival with Utah State is certainly, I'm looking forward to this one.
I am too. Utah State, they are definitely still a force to be reckoned with, but Boise State's going to bring everything to the table that they have to offer, so I'm super excited to kind of bring down our Gridiron rivals in the virtual stadium tonight.
Yeah, I certainly can't wait to see, and also to see kind of what comps are generally brought to the table tonight, because especially if we were going off last night's broadcast, Boise State certainly have been shown themselves to be comfortable in all sorts of different comps. We've seen them run very successful dives. We've also saw them on the Ryan Kazaria combo when they went on Kings Row. So, you know, ever since kind of that hog nerf came in, you know, kind of reined him back a little, it's kind of allowed these other comps to shine a little bit, allowing us to see a little bit more of, say, dive.
Oh, I totally agree, and with the way that the nerfs and buffs have been going, it's also allowed a little bit more experimentation on the side of the players. This is why we're able to pull out kind of that, a little bit of a kooky Torbjorn that we pull with Goblin. Granted, it is his main and his go-to hero, so to speak, but the way that the meta has allowed for that sort of creativity to come forward and really shine has been awesome to watch.
And one thing I'm also looking forward to is just seeing if Boise State pulls out the Sombra, because the performance on the Sombra that we've been seeing is insane. We've been seeing so many, 4 or 5-man EMPs going off. As you can see here, as we're talking strategy, it's the perfect time to bring up Doc's keys to the game, which win the first fight. Always call your targets early and follow through. Have a plan for every ultimate, and get your midterms done early, because after all, at a university, you don't want to neglect your academic duties. That is brought to you by actually, we're just going to get right into it as we start off on Busan. Certainly a fun map. A lot of great selections among the 3 maps here.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Busan will allow for a lot of high ground coming out from Boise State with their dive comps that they've been running that'll play into their advantage. So I'm excited to see what Utah pulls out in order to counter the Boise State's kind of standard comp that we see here.
Well, it looks like it turns on the comp. We're seeing Boise State bring out the Hammond and also the Hog. So Hog's still pretty powerful despite the nerfs that's come to him.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hog and Ball Torture is definitely a viable comp no matter what. You do see Utah is pulling out kind of the standard double dive tanks with Winston and Diva. They do have a Sombra, which might spell some doom for both Guac and Kel because of how dependent those heroes are on their utilities. We'll have to see though, because they will not be able to handle both Guac and Echo and Mercy at the same time with their current comp.
We see here, we also see the Echo being used by Goblin there. Echo also being a very great hero to use here. But as we get into it, we can see Kel trying to throw out the hook there. Play2 is going to be picking up the first elimination. Double actually taking out the Lucio and the Ash as well. Unfortunately, Guac is going to be going down early. Boise State still is up 1 though, and Goblin is unfortunately hacked. So not having the access to the abilities there. With the Diva mech going down, that's going to leave Baby Diva out on the field. Kel is just going to continue being just a huge force on the main point, taking out the Moira as well. Boise State establishing a nice presence on the point here, and looks like they're going to be able to take it early.
Yeah, Boise State should be able to take this comp early. They're, even though they lost their main tank very early on, the amount of time it takes for a Wrecking Ball to get back is very low compared to that of the other heroes on the side of Utah State. So they had a man advantage for an extended period of time. But we see Kel come out with that incredible hook on the Ash, and now Boise State's just able to push forward and keep pushing Utah State back towards their spawn as they take out that Pilot Diva.
And that is one thing that Boise State does so well, is just the individual mastery on these different heroes. One of the things that was talked about yesterday in the fight against Illinois Wesleyan is, especially if it comes down to a matter of, say, a mirror match, which we saw a lot of yesterday, it does come down to ult management and individual skill, which Kel is showing brilliantly, just picking up the Lucio like it wasn't even a problem. Play2 also doing great work on that at taking out Run from Utah State. So those early picks definitely paying dividends for Boise State, allowing them to keep Utah State, especially players like Sombra, away from the point. Bob is also going to come out from Boise State as they use it, just doing a very great job of getting those early picks against Utah.
Yeah, forcing that Bob into that alley pushed back Utah State there, and is going to cost them basically about 15%, 15 seconds on that timer as they're engaging with this EMP blast. But we do have Asa who popped that Valkyrie just in time to help keep the team alive. But the amount of damage coming out from Maximus right now might prove to be the doom of Boise State, because they are down 2. As we see AC with that res and a self-destruct coming from Goblin, this might turn the fight, and it does with a huge double kill!
That is great work on that Echo from Goblin, able to turn this engagement around. Brock is going to follow up with the elimination onto Maximus. Now, Utah State, the one thing they do have going for them is they do have ultimates on their side, as the Baby Diva is going to be picked off by the Ana there. Utah State does have the ultimate advantage. However, with them staggered, they really only have one chance to get this point now.
They do, and their best bet is to use their tank ultimates to gain some space and possibly clear out the point as they engage with their Lucio sound barrier. So if we use this nano boost now and Goblin's able to get his ultimate and clear everyone off the point, there will be no way to answer back from the side of Utah. So Large Bagel's just got to stay alive from that Winston, but it does look like the point is going to be conceded to Utah State, but the fight is just not over yet, as we have both Kel and Goblin fighting on point and staying alive, but Guac is going down a little low on his health, going 1v1 against that Sombra. Boise State definitely can sustain on this point and get it all the way back to in their possession, just in time for overtime to engage.
Yeah, they have been doing a great job using their ultimates to great effect, and that is going to be the first match done for Boise State. Going 1-0, all they need is one more to take this first round as we move on to the next map lineup that is going to be in Busan. We are going to see the hangar here, and this is really a very unique map in terms of what we see in Busan because of those hallways and the choke points that they create.
I personally do enjoy Mecha Base. Out of the 3 rotation maps that you have here for the Busan selection, it is the one with the lowest ceiling limit, so that does create a kind of limited composition that both teams can pull out. As we see, Boise State is actually switching over to what might be a Doomfist Torbjorn push with Reinhardt and Roadhog. We'll see if they swap, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, Utah State does a last-minute swap. They're swapping onto the Winston, but they're still both have the Reinhardt as well. You see Boise State is going to take the top level here as the first engagement comes out. Shields up. Utah State Sombra has taken a bit of damage and is going to be the first eliminated as the Torbjorn is able to do damage. Play 2 following up with the Doomfist, taking out one of Utah State's tanks. Asu trying to do a little bit of healing, but not enough to save Guac. However, Play 2 and Lucio are going to be picking up the slack there, pushing Boise State to the point, allowing them to win the first engagement.
Yeah, now Boise State's going to have to kind of wait on their respawns, though. Their tanks did go down, so they can't hold too close at this front door while they wait for their Reinhardt. So hopefully they do fall back a little bit because Utah State is regrouped and ready to push forward, so they need their Reinhardt now sooner rather than later.
And that Reinhardt has a 63% ult charge, so not this engagement, the next, Boise State is going to have that in their minds, and some great work from the Mura as well as Play 2 is going to be able to take out Miko first thing, and the eliminations just pound on each other. Guac getting a double, followed up by 3 eliminations from free Boise State players is going to give them a team kill.
Yay, team kill, cute team fight song. Hey. Okay, so as we were saying, I'm sorry, I'm a band kid. We were waiting here at this next engage, but you do see Maximus has that nano boost ready to go, but Plato's going to swoop in and take care of both the supports too early for Utah State to be able to counter them. And Boise State almost has a clean team kill once again, and they do 2 times in a row. They are eating Utah State for breakfast right now.
And Boise State is also aiding Utah in terms of ultimates because they now have the Diva Bomb and the Shatter available from Guac. Now, Maximus is going to be able to have the Nano Boost, and actually the Lucio is going to be doing some great work taking out the Torb and his turret, so getting an early pick on there for Utah State. Boise State is going to commit both the Shatter and the Diva Bomb, not going to pick up any eliminations for them. Play 2 is going to be able to take out one of the supports of Utah State. Rose Dog is going to win the battle of the Reinhardts, taking out Guac. Kel is maintaining the advantage for Boise State as well as Play 2 as they get some eliminations of their own. And now the eliminations pile up for Boise State, allowing them to keep this point going past 80% charge at this point.
So during that last fight, Utah State split their attention and split focus during fights is one of the worst things you can do, to quote Stan Smith from American Dad. What you need to be doing is focusing on winning the fight first and then returning to the point. As you could see, Utah had players split between point control and trying to kill Boise State, and that spelled their doom, whereas Boise State was like, kill everybody, then we'll take the point back. As we see Plato stopping the Sombra immediately as he translocates onto the point, just in time for overtime to start, but I think Plato's just going to go in and say, no, all your tanks are now going to die to me.
Yeah, but as soon as you say the main strategy is just to get the opponent's plays, Plato just comes rushing in and just piles up the eliminations, allowing Boise State to take the first victory in this social distancing series amongst 2 Mountain West teams in our Gridiron Rivals match. Boise State versus Utah State. And what did I tell you? Spooks, specters, ghosts, goblins. Boise State, the main thing to fear tonight. And one other thing related to Boise State that you can be looking forward to is going to be the Rocky Mountain Warfare Redux coming the 6th and 7th of November, hosted by the Idaho Army National Guard and broadcasted live from the esports arena in downtown Boise. And this will be your chance to represent your state in a multi-state war zone duos tournament. If you are in Oregon, Montana, Idaho, or South Dakota, this event is for you. This is the perfect opportunity to ask the Army National Guard about how they can help you get an education in gaming and interactive media. One of the fan favorite events that we host here tonight, host in this program, and it will be great to see that when it comes. But certainly the fans are also pleased by the performance Boise State had in that first match.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely from the outside looking in, that was the play from Boise State was fantastic. Granted, they had a couple of mishaps here and there and were losing a couple heroes a little early before fights happened, but they managed to regain their bearings about them and still sustained in some really long, drawn-out fights that they should not have won but did anyway. So that just speaks to the level of skill and faith that they have in each other's players.
And they really do a good job of kind of control once they lock down the point and pushing up to those choke points. We just see Utah State trying again and again, but even before they start to engage, there's a pick here or off there from Boise State's DPS. So Boise State really not even allowing Utah State to even get to the point in some instances.
Yeah, definitely when we had Playo pushing up with his Ash, that Bob and his Dynamites were just constantly throwing damage into the side of Utah State, and they did not know what to do. They needed to utilize natural cover a little bit more, rotate faster. Hopefully they'll be able to do that on this next map as we go into it, but we'll have to see if they garnered that information first, as this is their first round playing against Boise State this season.
Yeah, I also like Boise State being able to pull out some of these creative comps as we saw with the Torbjorn and the Doomfist. Torb, along with Ash, actually being one of the better DPSs to play right now. Boise State definitely showing that just in their technical skill, whether it be the hook on the Roadhog or just being able to do the old-fashioned click the head as Ash. They are so accurate and so consistent with how they play.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, when it comes to this level of gameplay, half of it is your skill, but then the other half is the ability to actually utilize the character's abilities as they're meant to be utilized. And Boise State definitely has shown their proficiency to do that, as well as combining their abilities in order to get the best outcome.
And this is a great example of what we're seeing here, Nerdy, of what we just saw there in Busan, of one of those matches that, you know, they really shouldn't have won. You know, Utah State, yes, they managed to get to the point in that engagement, but they had to use all three of their ultimates to do that. And Boise State was using ultimates as soon as they had them, you know, 1 or 2 players down, and they were able to bring that fight back, to be able to kind of rescue it. So it really says something when it takes all of Utah State's ultimates to even get to the point, and even then Boise State manages to come out on top.
For sure, and Utah State demonstrated that they're a little bit more secure with what I would consider a bunker-style comp, and so as we're going in here onto Havana, if they are on offense first, they might have a little bit of a better and easier time pushing this payload, as they'll be able to use that for their own safety and to avoid Boise State's fire, but they're going to have to really focus on positioning and rotating together and using natural cover during this round to stay alive.
And speaking of picks like we saw in the first round, I am going to be very interested to see what Goblin can do here on this Widowmaker. Boise State being very great with the picks thus far tonight, as well as with those hooks by the Roadhog. If there's one lesson Utah State, I think, should learn in this second match, beware of that hook, because on that first match, the first map in Busan, Kel was going wild with this hog.
Yes, and unfortunately from the side of Utah State, they are going to have a hard time pushing forward very quickly, as we have 3 heroes on the side of Boise State, Widowmaker, Ash, and Zenyatta, that are all going to be raining hellfire down from the high grounds. And we can look at Utah State, the only people that they have that can really focus fire those heroes from Boise State are their Diva and their Sombra, but they're not going to be much use, as we see Plato already throwing that dynamite in on the back line, and the tanks just moving forward with this wall of damage right now from Boise State.
Yeah, what did I tell you with Goblin being able to get 2 eliminations right off the bat? Walk is going to stay right up in Utah State's faces, pushing right up to their spawn point, and here comes the Diva. Unfortunately, not even able to take 3 steps out of the spawn point without just being focused by both Play2 and Guac.
Yeah, and as Utah State is staggering out of the spawn right now, they are taking seconds upon seconds off the time that they have to push that payload. Every single hero lost is another 10 seconds lost for them, so they really need to make sure they are not peeking out of those spawn doors, because you can still be hooked, as we had Kel demonstrate, and Goblin just instantly headshotting people. You need to use that the natural cover that is provided by the map, my friends.
Oh, Boise State, so entertaining to watch tonight. Play2 and Guac being able to take out that Diva. Unfortunately, Rosedog with that damage orb is taking a lot of damage, finally taken out by that Zenyatta, as Large Bagel does great work for his team there. Not able to get that much of a point. Trying to get the headshot there, Goblin does, not able to find it. And Grun is going to be able to get some of his Widowmaker mileage by taking out Play2, but Asu is right there to res him as well. Infrared sights are available to Goblin as the only ult online right now. Guac getting the elimination onto the Diva mech, but he is going to be taken out by the Sombra. A Large Bagel and Keel picking up the slack there, taking out Rosedog and Maximus. And Utah State is now getting into a position where they have a good amount of ultimates available to themselves as well. But speaking of ultimates, look at Kel there with the whole hog getting a double.
That was very smart of Kel to pop that ultimate when he did. He was most definitely aware of the fact that Utah State has EMP on cooldown waiting right now. Most likely Guac told them about it, so he popped his ult early to force them back, to give his team extra time to allow for their Wrecking Ball to come back. Hopefully now a Large Bagel is going to be hiding out of sight to hide from that EMP, because he is the only defense that Boise State will have to survive it if all utility is hacked.
And now we can see here the Nano Boost is going to be used by Utah State, as well as Minefields coming off, but the Transcendence is going to give Boise State that little bit of extra protection that they need. The infrared sights also being used by both teams now, giving us more information. Valk is going to be used by the Utah State Mercy, but it's instantly taken out. There goes the EMP onto 2 members of Boise State, and Utah State might finally have their footing there as Grun and Rosedog get eliminations for themselves, taking out Asu. Goblin able to get one of himself onto the Hammond. But Boise State, now with the use of a lot of ultimates for Utah State, they're finally pushing the payload.
Yes, and we do need to have Plato make it out alive, otherwise the chances of a retake here are going to be very slim. So Boise State just lost one of their DPS in the form of Goblin going down to an Ana Mercy combo. So now Boise State is going to have to start throwing some bodies on that payload to get it contested in order to allow some time for a full reset. But with the tanks that they have, they're able to create some chaos and allow for that time to happen.
Play 2 getting the first elimination of that contest. They're getting right in the face of that. Mercy is Guac able to get a great elimination on there. After that, Mercy res the Sombra. Boise State being able to hold the point here. A large bagel taking out the Diva mech as well. With no ultimates available to both teams at this time, it is going to come down to pure technical skill. There is going to be the nano boost available as kind of a last swan song to Utah State if they choose to use it. Damage orb going on to Rosedog, taking a lot of damage, not eliminated yet. Who is eliminated though is Grun on the side of Utah State. Lamabite being able to take out Keel for Boise State. Large Bagel returns the favor by taking out Lamabite. Boise State's now run the clock down to 0. Keel rezzed by the Mercy, and that advantage is going to be able to help Boise State. Well, it was the end of the round, so didn't get too much mileage out of it, but Boise State was ahead enough in eliminations that they were able to keep Utah State from reaching even the first checkpoint.
Unfortunately, I'm going to say it because it needs to be said, but that was a classic case of a C9. You always got to keep in mind what the goal is and keep your eye on that clock, because Utah State was too focused on getting kills from Boise State and were going down that left side corridor, ramrodding everybody on their team through that passageway. Did not send a single person to touch the payload and extend it into overtime or push it a little bit. So they lost sight of what the ultimate goal was for this map, and that is push that dang payload. Now Boise State has plenty of time to push it all the way to that little yellow glowing square at the corner. I don't think they're going to have too much of an issue.
Yeah, you can run around, get that silver medal in eliminations and show off to your team. Look at everything I got, but if that payload does not get to the checkpoint, it is not going to do you that much good. Boise State now is going to be able to push the payload. In terms of comps, we do see Rhine and Sigma used for Boise State. Keel is going to stick on that Roadhog, which he has been so good of tonight, and Guac still staying on the Reinhardt.
So it looks like Utah State is trying to go into basically going to be banking on a Sigma 9 or a Bob Sigma 9, so to speak, where they'll be EMPing the payload, possibly using Sigma's ultimate or a Bob to follow it up to allow for an extra body to be there and get Boise State off the payload to slow down the amount of time it has. But that will only work if they're able to stay alive for more than one fight as a team together, and that is one long spawn they'll have to deal with.
Pushing out of the spawn as one, except for Goblin, who looks to get a bit of a flank on Utah State. Unfortunately, Boise State is going to get play 2 and a large bagel eliminated immediately, putting them down in this overall engagement. Goblin trying to peek over here, get a pick here or there for Boise State is not going to work out. For now, almost tried to get that Mercy there, didn't quite get it. Boise State is now back at full strength, and Goblin now getting those picks that he was looking for, taking out Maximus and Grun. Rosedog is going to be able to return the favor, taking out the Ana, and Utah State's Ana is res by the Mercy as well. Play 2 picking up one elimination. Boise State pushing up a little here. The payload now slowly being pushed forward.
Yeah, Boise State's kind of in an awkward stage here as they have so many staggers coming out from the side of Utah State that they're trying to get those cleaned up while still pushing the payload. So it's going to create a little bit of an inconsistency whether or not the payload will be moving. But so long as they're able to keep the aggression pushing forward, Boise State will be able to maintain a constant push on the payload with one person. That is more than enough for them to finish out this round.
So there's the nano boost going onto the Hammond there. However, the nice Ananate was able to go onto him. Not going to be able to eliminate him thus far. Nano Boost now being used by Boise State. Keel unfortunately hit with the Sleep Dart. Guac is going to be able to take out the Reinhardt as well as Keo now picking up the Genji as well as the Shatter coming through, allowing Boise State to get eliminations left and right. Play 2 getting a double there right after Miko was rezzed by the Mercy. But that Shatter allowing them to get the not even to the first checkpoint. Boise State just had to push it just a little bit farther than Utah State and was able to do that with flying colors.
Yeah, unfortunately, Utah State might have thought about starting with a bunker comp on the payload just to get an extra fight in there, but you know, that's okay. We still have one more map. And just remember, everybody, this is Boise State participating in our Mountain West Social Distancing Conference against Utah State, and we are now through our second map of this evening, and there is still more to go.
And this isn't just the only event that you have to look forward to, our Gridiron Rivals events. We, of course, also have the Rocky Mountain Warfare Redux coming now. coming soon, so that is going to be something to look forward to. One of the fan-favorite events in collaboration with the Idaho Army National Guard. And, of course, Boise State Esports is always looking for talented players, production, and broadcast talent. Top talent, along with good graphics and eligibility, can earn scholarships as well. So sign up today by visiting boisestate.edu/esports for more information. As you can see, Overwatch, League of Legends, Rocket League, and production. We have a lot of students studying media production who help out with the overall production here tonight, and they get some great experience there as well. But Boise State thus far going 2-0 in the overall Overwatch match tonight, and we have one more map. And joining me to help call that action, of course, as you've been hearing, is Nerdy Bird. It is great to have her back in the arena with us. And what gameplay to come back to, coming back to the arena and seeing such great performance from Boise State.
I mean, I'm definitely not disappointed, and I'm really excited to see what map is chosen next by Utah State. I want to say it's going to be a hybrid, so unfortunately we're probably going to see Scrims Row, maybe an Eichenwald, maybe a Blizzard World if we're lucky. I don't know. That depends on where they're comfortable. But I can definitely say from the point of Boise State, they have not disappointed me this evening. Kel has had some fantastic diva bombs thus far. Plato has just been on point with all of his sniping this evening. There is just nothing to complain about.
And as we look to the path that Boise State took to get to this point, we saw the first map, Busan, being played. And this is really where we first saw the great technical skill of Boise State starting to shine. Kel, great work on the Roadhog in that first map. And we saw Boise State using the Torbjorn and the Doomfist combo here to great effect. As they moved on in the second map, we see Havana right there. And there's Kel on that Roadhog. I just can't get over how good his hooks have been.
I won't lie, if you're good with Roadhog, you can probably be one of the most annoying people to play against because of the level of self-maintain that Roadhog has is a little bit unfair, and it makes him a bigger bully than it makes Diva, and that takes a lot for me to say as a Diva player.
Yeah, Kel has definitely been great in that regard, but not to really downplay, as you did call it out right here, Nerdy. We are going to be going into Kings Row, the old favorite, the broccoli you got to eat with every meal, because it is one of the most seen maps we see here. And Utah State is actually looks like they've got a Tracer and Bastion that they're running.
Okay, so Utah State, I believe, is going to be attacking first.
So,
oh, wait, no, that's Boise State.
Oh.
They swapped colors, and they kind of swapped their comps up a little bit, as we do see a Torbjorn coming out from Utah State right now. I am a little shook, and they have a Junkrat too, and that is a combination that Boise State has used. But we do see on the side of BSU the Symmetra pick and Goblin on the Bastion. We may see a Statue of Pain play coming out, and it is not even championship gameplay yet, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be either hilarious or tear-jerking. We will find out.
We've got to see Boise State coming out. Are they going to be able to pull it off? There goes the teleporter. Boise State is able to get up to the top. There goes the Statue of Liberty play. Let's see how many they get. Play to getting the first elimination onto the Bastion turret. Unfortunately, well, okay, that didn't quite work out. Mercy's going to take a mulligan on that one, see if we can't get a little bit more mileage out of the Bastion. Mercy being eliminated there by Guac from Boise State. Guac now getting the second elimination onto Lamabite right there. Goblin now able to do some damage onto the Torbjorn turret, so maybe not the huge production that we wanted with the Statue of Liberty, but still a point taken by Boise State.
I think that was planned. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to not fully have planned it, but now take credit as it having been planned. I think the Bastion was simply a distraction, because as soon as our Bastion was getting rezzed and the side of Utah State was kind of focusing them a little bit more on the Bastion and Mercy, the rest of Boise State pushed forward and killed 3 people before we had even finished with the resurrection. I'm going to say it was planned. Please don't counter me, boys.
Guac just giving a little bit of a hello to the camera as he takes the point. Boise State now heads back. Play 2 is unfortunately caught up there in that Rhine charge. Now Miko getting the first elimination along with Grun, taking out both Play 2 and a large Bagel, putting Utah State at an early advantage in this engagement. Now Grun does have his Molten Core as the only ultimate available thus far. Goblin now trying to do a bit of chip damage here and there with that Rogue Cog. Asu is going to be able to get an elimination onto Llama Bite, so a great quick elimination there from Mercy. There goes the Molten Core out from Utah State. Rosedog getting rid of Kel with a bit of a punch to the face, and now Grun getting rid of Play 2 as well. That's going to have to be a reset for Boise State.
I am still mentally shocked and trying to process the fact that Plato is playing Reinhardt right now. I'm a little confused. We do see Kel switching over to that Genji. This is some playing I have not seen thus far from Boise State. It's very interesting. They're pushing through one of what could be arguably the hardest choke to begin with on King's Row. And we see that Sigma ultimate coming out. It does land on a couple of people on Utah State, and the Sigma ult from Utah State comes in Boise State side. Not killing anybody, but Plato does go down to Mako finally.
And now here comes the Riptide. Going to be stopped immediately, so unfortunately that doesn't come out. A bit of a shatter also from the Reinhardt. Boise State able to get an advantage now with those eliminations onto Grun and Rosedog. Guac and Goblin also following that up by taking out Llama Bite and Maximus. So a reset for Utah State as Boise State pushes further. And are they going to be able to get a stagger here onto the Symmetra? Able to get the mine hit, but not an elimination. That would have been a very nice cheeky elim.
And we do now see Goblin and Kel have swapped over. Kel is now on the Tracer, and Goblin's pushing forward, continuing to push forward with his Junkrat, trying to create as much space for Boise State to continue to push that payload as they can. And there is plenty of damage coming forward from the side of Boise State. So they might be able to create one heck of a staggered fight here as we hear this Riptide coming out from the side of Utah, and it does get both supports from Boise State, so that is going to be a reset.
Yep, reset for Boise State. Gain a bit more mileage out of that Riptide than Boise State did. But Boise State, I would say, is still in the driver's seat here. They've got plenty of time to get to that second checkpoint. It's got to, well, stop getting staggered here first off by Utah State as Miko and Grun is able to take out Gok and Goblin. Like you said, Nerdy, adding kind of another 10 seconds for every hero eliminated. That was some good stagger by Utah State.
Most definitely it was, and we do see online coming up this next fight is going to be that Genji Blade as well as a Nano Boost. So we're going to have the standardized Nano Blade coming out from Utah State, and we can see the Boise State, both their supports do not fully have their ultimates yet, and they need one of those in order to survive that Genji Blade, or everyone's just going to be sliced and diced in a couple of seconds. So this really is going to come down to when ultimates are popped, as we see the Riptide come out from Goblin, taking out the Reinhardt on the side of Utah State. So that gives clearance for Boise State to push forward as that Nano Boost comes out onto the Genji, but it might be a little too late. He better not pop that Nano Blade, we hope, as he does get stuck in a trap.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too early, actually, because Grun was already eliminated before that Nano Blade was even charged, so not even able to use it. Boise State reaching the second checkpoint now. We see the Junkrat still trying to get some of that damage, creating that space for Boise State. Utah State does have two ultimates. They do have that Genji Blade still available, as well as the Gravitic Flux. Kel hit with the Sleep Dart, going to be followed up by Miko, eliminating him. Play 2 now is going to return that by taking out Miko. A little bit of revenge for his own teammate. And here comes the Genji Blade, getting a double onto Boise State. Rosedog following that up with a large bagel. That Genji Blade is certainly a force to be reckoned with, forcing Boise State to reset.
And unfortunately, Guac did pop Graphitic Flux and was taken out midway through the animation. But Guac is going to be swapping over to the D.Va. I'm excited to watch that D.Va play as Kel gets a perfect stick onto Maximus, and Plato gets a kill onto Miko, creating a two-man lead for the side of Boise State, allowing them to push forward right now. And now they just got to pick their next target and kind of keep rolling.
Utah State is down 1 as Miko now respawns, putting them back up to full strength. Boise State now is going to be faced with the Gradivic Flux, but a nice Transcendence there is going to be able to keep them alive. Unfortunately, Grun is able to take out Plato as well, so eliminations, both teams are at full strength, but Miko now taking out both supports, and the D.Va Mech is going to be able to put Boise State at a great advantage now as they try to keep pushing forward. But Rosedog is going to have to say something about that, as he is able to take out the baby D.Va, and Boise State still pushed back to this checkpoint.
Yeah, they're going to have to do a full reset, but they kind of can play this next push to their advantage if they choose to do a dry fight, force out not only the Nano Boost, but hopefully the Genji Blade, maybe an EMP Blast as well from the side of Utah State, because Boise State is waiting for their support ultimates to come online, but they are choosing to engage with Goblin and the Riptide, and they're able to take out the Reinhardt, followed up with both the Lucio and the Sigma, but Maximus is able to take out Asu on the Mercy as we see this Nano Blade come out, but Goblin is just going to blow him to pieces, and Kel is also pushing in, and Plato unfortunately decided to take a trip off the side of the map. And the Wrecking Ball is now coming in to stall, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. I'm not quite sure what just happened there either.
Yeah, both Play-Doh and a large bagel falling off, so they are going to have to reset right now as Utah State. The Lucio beat was used right there, and I don't know if that was the best use of that because granted Boise State is on the point, but they are 2 down, so Ender using that beat as soon as he got it. In terms of ultimates as well, the AMP is also available to Utah State, so Boise State has to keep that in the back of their mind.
That is okay so long as Asu is out of line of sight of that EMP blast, as the Mercy ultimate is more than enough to counter it, and then we can hold on to a large bagel gold for another time, as Goblin is able to take out Indirity right out the gate before the fight even starts, and there is that EMP blast, but Asu does pop the Valkyrie, and it's coming out, but Maximus takes out 2 of Boise State, following up with Asu on another fantastic res. Boise State and Utah State are going to be equal as Genji goes down from Utah. Boise State is up a man and is able to push in. They go down 2 more, and the Diva Bomb comes out as well as the Shatter, but nothing stopping Boise State right now as they are up all 6 men on the payload, and they have a trapped Wrecking Ball right in front of them.
And they're able to take him out, pushing themselves to the final, still being contested by Utah State. Lamabite able to get the elimination onto Play-Doh. Now Asu taking out Maximus. Kel with the Soldier 76 taking out Lamabite as well. And with the res onto Play-Doh, Boise State is still at full strength, but it is the Utah State trying to drag this out as much as they can, pushing the Wrecking Ball to swing around the payload, trying to buy some time for his team. Guac able to punch Miko in the face as well as taking out the Sombra as well. Elimination after elimination coming through from Boise State. Goblin taking out the Lucio, which is going to be the final elimination, allowing Boise State to finally push through to the final point.
Okay, so Boise State did get all 3 check marks on that push. However, Utah State did a great job in the last seconds of dragging out those fights and forcing Boise State to have 0 time on the clock. So now all Utah State has to do is get all 3 points, force this into overtime. Them and Boise State will be on equal playing grounds with just 1 minute to cap the point and push the payload, but first we have to see if they're able to fully cap all 3 points.
Now I'm wondering if we're going to see the Junkrat used by Boise State here. We saw that yesterday with them on defense on Kings Row, and just kind of lobbing those explosives over the wall. Was able to get a few picks onto Illinois Wesleyan yesterday, so maybe that's the same thing that happens here with Boise State. I do see Goblin on that Junkrat, so that is going to be an interesting option to see how that turns out.
And we actually have Kel now pulling out the Torbjorn. I'm shocked, to say the least, and we have Goblin on his Trident 2 Junkrat, so I'm hoping that Kel can show just as much proficiency on Torb as he does on Diva. Never mind, he's swapping over to Genji as though he can hear me right now, because technically he can. But nonetheless, we are aware that all of these players have skills across multiple heroes in this game. I have no doubt they're going to be awesome. I'm just excited to see some huge shatters coming out from Play-Doh, so I really hope his Reinhardt pops off this round.
It's going to be interesting to see how the Hog performs on Utah State. Certainly as Boise State has set the standard for that play now. Doors open and Utah State tries to push toward the first point. You see Tracer on top of the theater there as Genji just hops right over Asu and just goes charging to the point. I'm not quite sure what Boise State has planned. Are they going to try to get some sort of... Barry, can you bring me up to speed here?
Okay, I honestly can't tell you what completely is happening right now, as it seems like Utah State's kind of giving up the point to the side of Boise State, but not. Oh, they are having a Lucio duel! Okay, so I can appreciate this. This is a 1v1 between the Lucios, and the players are being respectful and allowing it to happen. Odds are someone got a boop kill that shouldn't have happened when those suicides occurred at the 3rd point of Kings Row, and that's what that was.
And with a large bagel winning that duel, the eliminations just go forward from Boise State, allowing them to get this first point early. Miko finding himself in the middle of a lot of attention. Boise State going to be eliminated by Guac. Boise State moves on to the first point, and it looks like they're going to be able to defend it.
Yeah, and we do have Goblin, who just respawned, be able to come back. So Boise State is technically down 1, but Kel is already hunting the Sombra on the side of Utah State, so it's back down to a 5v5. we're just waiting on our Junkrat to come back, and I'm pretty sure he is back by now. So Boise State is up a man despite losing a man as we see Kel go down, but the respawn time on Tracer is pretty quick, so that's okay. But we are losing both of our tanks now. I think Utah State's going to take this point. That's just my hunch right now.
Yeah, Large Bagel able to get one pick onto Maximus there, but I don't think it's going to be as much as Grun has been a key pivotal force in this engagement, getting 3 eliminations in total. See a Large Bagel here just kind of trying to run away, survive a little bit, but it's not going to be enough as Utah State is almost going to be able to take the point. Here comes Kel getting an elimination on to the Reinhardt. Will Boise State actually be able to prevent that 3rd tick from? I think they were able to do it.
I don't know what just happened or how that just happened. They're playing some mind games that are 5-head and 6-head plays above what we are not able to understand, obviously, because I don't know how this is working right now.
It is certainly a mystery to me as well. What isn't a mystery to Boise State is they're going to have a little bit of extra health as that Lucio beat comes right down. Nano Blade, Nano Boost used by Maximus as well as the Whole Hog from Miko. No eliminations show for it thus yet, as Primal Rage is also going to be used by Guac. Utah State does still have an advantage. There goes the Shatter from Boise State as well. But a Large Bagel and Guac are going to be the ones with the eliminations, putting Boise State at a little bit of advantage. There comes the Genji Blade from Grun. Is he going to be able to get any sort of advantage off of it? He has been able to get eliminations, but not with that ultimate, it looks like, as Guac and Asu continue to keep Boise State in an advantage, taking out Rosedock and Ender. Now with that Tracer ultimate, Llama Bite is going to be able to be eliminated, as well as Maximus by a Large Bagel, who has been doing a very great job on this Lucio. We have been kind of paying attention to the hooks from Roadhog or the eliminations from, say, Genji or Widowmaker, but Ender and a Large Bagel still doing great jobs on the Lucio for their team.
I think Boise State is trying to goad the enemy team into locations that are better for the other teammates of Boise State to make plays like this one we see coming from Goblin right now. I'm just making that suggestion because of the way they set themselves up for this play was a little bit weird. And thank you for the stroke I just had trying to watch that Riptire Goblin. Great job taking out the Reinhardt on the side of Utah State. I do think Boise State might be able to sustain this point and win, but Utah does have 4 men on it, and they get it. So we are going to be pushing the payload now as Boise State needs to reset and be prepared for that Sombra EMP that's probably going to come right after Archway.
Yeah, the Sombra EMP. Boise State was caught with the 4-man EMP last round, so they definitely got to be cognizant of that ultimate damage orb going on to Goblin, but taking no big damage. Who is taking damage is Plato right now, going down to half health, but it is going to be Grun who's taken out first by Guac. So that EMP still available for Utah State. Not going to choose to use it right now. Primal Rage is online for Guac. Plato taking a lot of damage, still sticking, and he's going to be going right into the face of the Roadhog, who answers the Primal Rage with the Whole Hog. Kel using the ultimate to take out Miko, and there goes the Shatter as well. It is ultimates flying back and forth here.
Yeah, there was a sound barrier that was popped to save Asu coming from a Large Bagel, so now they're not going to have that to counter the EMP blast that's going to be coming from the side of Utah State, as we hear Genji from Utah popping his blade, but it only seems to have picked up a Large Bagel, which is okay because his return time to the payload will be less than that of perhaps Asu if Asu had died in that case. So understandable utility usage there. Might have not used it then, as they do have to deal with an EMP next. But obviously Boise State's been a little bit above our heads lately with these plays they're making, so who knows?
Yeah, who really knows what's going on at this point? Boise State is going to have their Doomfist picked off right now, putting them at a disadvantage early on in this engagement. Ender going down to about half health, but is not going to be eliminated. Who is, though, is a Large Bagel taken out by Maximus on the side of Utah State. The hack coming through onto Asu. That is not going to allow him to use some of his abilities. Plato answering right now, going right into Grun, taking him out. Gets hacked also by the Sombra. The Sombra's been really good for Utah State getting the hacks on.
I'm hoping we're seeing a dirty stick come out here from Plato. He's landed multiple pulse bombs over the course of this entire match. They're so fun to watch as we see the Shatter come out from the side of Utah State, and Kel is just trying, oh, it is Kel on Tracer, just trying to blink around and stay alive. And Boise State, I don't know how they've managed to throw so many bodies on this point and not let this payload move very far, because we are down into the 30-second range as Goblin is taking out the Roadhog from Utah State, and there's a Lucio battle happening on the point between Sombra and Lucio.
Lucio going to be going down to half health, as well as Llama Bite hanging on to their ultimates right now. Lucio can use that beat to save some members. Guac is not going to be saved right now. There goes the EMP onto Boise State. However, it doesn't look like any hacks really went through. Plato now answering with the elimination onto Mender T, followed by Maximus by Kel. They have to get to this checkpoint right now, Utah State, if they want to keep their chances alive. A large bagel getting elimination onto ground. Charging in is Plato right there, swinging all over the payload. Miko is going to be able to eliminate Kel, but Guac answers right back by taking out Llama Bite. Looks like the Genji Blade and the Primal Rage, which is going to be used right now by Guac to create more space for Boise State as the overtime clock ticks right down, allowing Boise State keep Utah State from that checkpoint, winning this third match.
Okay, that was a little bit of a weird comp, but we did see Guac answer to that. The Genji coming out from Utah State saying, you know, I see you, I respect you, so therefore I'm going to counter you, going with that Winston play. But Plato, his first time here playing as a main tank, gets play of the game here on King's Row. Granted, I'm a little concerned with everyone playing different heroes today, but that was some great Reinhardt play coming out from Plato.
Well, it is very fun to watch, seeing the different players from Boise State playing on different roles. Just shows the skill that they have, that they can so effortlessly swap between their different roles. But Boise State is diabolical tonight, continuing their undefeated record. And we see not just diabolical in the terms of the hauntings tonight, but also actually the opposite of diabolical, with a little bit of costuming going on.
Asu looks so angelic. Can we just take a moment to appreciate the fact that we have someone showing the Halloween spirits today while we are here in the arena during COVID-19? Hats off and a round of applause to you, Asu. I appreciate you, man. Thank you!
And he's going to applaud himself as well. So applause going all around. But definitely deserves to be applauding himself, because going 3-0 is great performance here. As we look on to continue this match, we are going to be having Rocket League coming up after this. But any final thoughts right now, Nerdy, on what we just saw?
Honestly, I'm going to just kind of say that was an interesting fight to witness start to finish, but we're going to be able to actually watch that Lucio fight that confused everybody right out the gate at the beginning. Understand that these happen. They're just for, like, honor and, you know, domination and bragging rights, so to speak, just a tiny bit. I am pretty positive that this was to make up for an accidental boop or a glitch that occurred during that final point fight on King's Row. So we'll be able to see firsthand what actually was happening on point 1 here during the second round.
Yeah, we can see here we were both a little bit confused at that point, and then the light was brought to our eyes as this Lucio battle happened. You know, speaking of, you know, a large bagel, like I was saying earlier, really doing a great job for Boise State kind of in that support role, while we're kind of distracted by all these flashy DPS ultimates. He was there for his team when they needed him, and he could be a real contender for the ICCU player of the game. You can always nominate your own player in the Twitch chat right now to see who will be nominated. We have finished the Overwatch match in our Gridiron Rivals event. As for those of you who don't know, when the football teams play, Boise State versus Utah State tomorrow, the esports programs compete one day before to have just a little bit of fun in a just for fun match. Boise State certainly having a lot of fun getting the victory there. We are going to be going into the Idaho Central Credit Union Player of the Game very soon here. Do you have any predictions?
Bagel. I'm voting Bagel because he took care of the scouting for the Sombra and was just doing incredible with those kills, and the sound barrier charge time was ridiculous. So I'm voting Bagel. Granted, my heart might be broken because it's never a support player, but we'll have to wait and see.
And we are going to have Goblin is going to be able credited with the play of the game.
Okay, I'm satisfied. We can hear him cheering in the background. Yes, you popped off. You all popped off. Yes, do your little happy dance. Know that we appreciate you. You did great, and honestly, that double diva kill with the self-destruct was pretty great, so I can't argue that. My heart still goes out to the sport players.
Were you this vocal with the plays of the game when you were still on the team? Like you were up there on stage yourself, saw the play of the game come through, and just go, oh, that shouldn't have been the play.
Yes, actually more than once, because I distinctly remember one time Dalebo got a 4K kill right after I got a 4K kill. In reality, I got the kills, he got the credit, and we even verified in a replay because Adam and Lisa were on desk like arguing who deserved the POTG, and Adam was like, no, Nerdy deserved that one. She got it taken away, and I was like, thank you. At least Adam acknowledged me.
Well, you certainly giving some acknowledgement to Bagel there. Like I was saying, doing some great jobs, and Boise State had so many great plays there. That was another support coming through right there. Asu getting a double elimination in that engagement. And these rip tires were certainly fun to watch, although that very shaky one, that might have not been the fun one to watch.
Yeah, that was a little difficult, but it's okay.
So Boise State doing a great job in just kind of keeping these engagements going. There have been engagements where they've been picked off in the middle, but they have kept them going for so long. Yes, here it is. So, might want to close your eyes just a little bit.
I don't know what was happening. I was really intrigued from the setup. I can't believe it killed anybody with how spastic it was. But holy cow, I guess even in goofing around, they're still going to be on the top of their game.
It's a good thing it got an elimination, because after a production like that, if it had just kind of petered out in the middle of that, would have been very anticlimactic.
Oh, yeah.
But a great job overall done by Boise State. We are going to be going into the top 5 plays of the game as we leave you with this short break. But we are coming back with Rocket League very soon. But for now, enjoy these top 5 plays of the game. Thank you for watching, and thank you, Nerdy, for joining us for Overwatch. So, ever since kind of that hog nerf came in, kind of reined him.
Because they are down 2, as we see Asu with that res and a self-destruct coming from Goblin. This might turn the fight, and it does with a huge double kill!
That is great work on that Echo from Goblin, able to turn this engagement around. Brock is going to follow up with the elimination onto Maximus. Now, Utah State, the one thing they do have going for them is they do bit of damage, and is going to be the first eliminated as the Torbjorn is able to do damage. Play 2 following up with the Doomfist, taking out one of Utah State's tanks. Asu trying to do a little bit of healing, but not enough to save Guac. However, Play 2 and Lucio are going to be picking up the slack there, pushing Boise State to the point, allowing them to win the first engagement. 3% ult charge, so not this engagement, the next. Boise State is going to have that in their minds, and some great work from the Moira as well as Play 2 is going to be able to take out Miko first thing, and the eliminations just pound on each other. Guac getting a double, followed up by 3 eliminations from 3 Boise State players is going to give them a team kill.
Or everyone's just going to be sliced and diced in a couple of seconds. So this really is going to come down to when ultimates are popped. As we see the Riptide come out from Goblin, taking out the Reinhardt on the side of Utah State. So that gives clearance for Boise State to push forward as that Nano Boost comes out onto the Genji, but it might be a little too late. He better not pop that Nano Blade, we hope, as he does get stuck in a trap.
Diva Mech, but he is going to be taken out by the Sombra. Large Bagel and Keel picking up the slack there, taking out Rose Dog and Maximus. And Utah State is now getting into a position where they have a good amount of ultimates available to themselves as well.
Here in Idaho, we do things a little differently. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. Next, always use fry sauce. I mean, why wouldn't you? Hold steady when out-of-state friends think you're from Iowa. We call it pop, not soda. We always put a lift on our pickups. And we always buckle up because we still have a lot we want to do, and I'm guessing you do too.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
Growing up in Idaho, we have certain rules we live by. Hold steady when out-of-state friends think you're from Iowa. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by. Here in Idaho, we do things a little differently. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. Next, always use fry sauce. I mean, why wouldn't you? Hold steady when out-of-state friends think you're from Iowa. We call it pop, not soda. We always put a lift on our pickups. And we always buckle up because we still have a lot we want to do, and I'm guessing you do too.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
Growing up in Idaho, we have certain rules we live by. Hold steady when out-of-state friends think you're from Iowa. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome back to tonight's Boise State Esports broadcast. I'm Sir, your host, Jacob Jem Mountain Palmer, and we continue on our Gridiron Rivals event tonight, moving on to the second game of the night, Rocket League. And joining me, carrying over from our first segment in Overwatch, I still have Madison Nerdy Bird Bange joining us in the arena. It is great to have her back. It's great for me to be back as well. And remember, Nerdy, when I was setting up for the first match, saying that really, you know, with all the spooky things going on here, as we are in the Halloween mood, as you can see around the arena. The real thing to fear tonight is Boise State, with how good they have been in Overwatch. We'll take everything that I said for Overwatch and apply it to Rocket League, because Boise State's Rocket League team has been going insane this season, going 7-0.
Well, I won't lie. The Rocket League team's kind of been the team, from Boise State at least, from my perspective personally, the Rocket League team from the inception of this program has been the team to look out for, and they've kind of always brought everything that they've had to the table, and that has been a full Thanksgiving feast, so to speak. So, yeah, of course they've been popping off this entire season. They've had plenty of time to practice. They got some new kids on the team this year that are making appearances after kind of being in the wings of the team, so to speak, previously, and being brought to center stage, and it's kind of just showing that Boise State's like, yeah, we also nurture and grow fantastic players here.
Well, we have had a lot of great players kind of rotate out as they have been graduating, you included, Nerdy. But as we can see with this team, this is a veteran team that we are looking at to play this match. Baynock, Cosmo Buster, and Ace Pocket being here for so long. It's great that we get to have another semester with them, having so much time to play together. I mean, this is a veteran team. They know each other. They know how to communicate, and it shows in their performances.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And these are a great group of students to be having us representing our Gridiron rivalry tonight as we play against Utah State. They are our rivals on the football field, and they are our rivals when it comes to the Rocket League Arena court. I don't know what to call that. I'm going to call it the Rocket League Arena. We're just going to call it that. So we are going to be battling against them tonight for Rocket League before the football team takes to the field tomorrow to play against them.
And I got to say, all the pressure's on the football team as far as I'm concerned if the performances tonight are anything to go by. You can see a full view of the arena there, as well as mementos that have been brought along. Unfortunately, in these times, that's the only real audience that we can have at this time. But we hope that in the future, we will be able to have all of you back here in the arena cheering your Broncos on. Until then, we thank you very much for joining us in the Twitch chat. This is going to be Doc's keys to the game for Rocket League. Make sure those rotations are clean, have your metered aggression, communicate your position, follow it up, and remember, side control is the key. Doc's keys to the game brought to you by Count Identity Trust Global Network, which delivers real-time fraud protection, account protection, and enables personalized customer experiences for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. Linked by Count's award-winning AI, the Identity Trust Global Network analyzes signals from 32 billion annual interactions in order to provide user experiences across the spectrum of trust. From frictionless experiences to blocking fraud, quick and accurate identity trust decisions deliver safe payment, account creation, and login events while reducing digital fraud, chargebacks, false positives, and manual reviews. Count.com, a service only matched by the great performance we are seeing so far from Boise State, getting a goal with less than 20 seconds into the match.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We saw Ace Pocket come in for the assist to get that ball in off the kickoff. I've said it, and I have said it more than once, I'll say it again, that kickoff is very important, so make sure you take the time to practice that. And one thing I'd like to point out is we're seeing a different map than what we normally see, aren't we, Jim?
This map, I see the barn, I see the tree with those beautiful autumn leaves. We are definitely getting in the Halloween spirit by playing on a spookier map than what we are normally used to seeing. But the one thing that is constant is the great play by Boise State, as they actually have to get the clear here, as Kian might be able to get a goal here, followed up, bounces off the crossbar. The third follow-up by Dude is not going to make it in, as some great defensive play by Boise State. Now they have to go and try to find that clear. Baynock now off the wall is going to miss the ball. Ace Pocket now has to follow up, doesn't win that. Instead, Kian is able to get the clear, forcing Cosmobuster to try to get a saver, pushes it back over to the other side. And this is one of Doc's keys to the game that we were talking about earlier, making sure that you have that side control.
Yeah, and the boost management on both these teams that we see coming out is great. I'm not seeing a lot of swap swapping camera angles here and noticing anyone with a lack of boost from either side. And one thing I will point out here is that as this series has gone on, we have seen more teams that are capable of handling both aerial play and ground play, whereas Boise State used to dominate in the air. These teams are able to come up to the plate and swing just as hard as Boise State is. So now this is a game that's going to come down to pure skill and less of the aggression and speed that we normally see.
Oh, I can sure attest to that aerial play from Boise State, seeing triple taps in the air, followed up by a goal. Unfortunately for Boise State, Cosmobuster's going to have to fall back to the ground, go back to pick up some boost. Ball is in Utah State's corner as Dude looks to try to get the clear off there, follows it up with Cryptor, trying to get the goal, isn't going to be able to find it. Cosmobuster credited with the save. Now the ball is going to go over to Baynock, who's going to pass over to Ace Pocket with that aerial play on toward Cosmobuster. Cosmobuster is disrupted a little bit by Utah State's players, but now Boise State has to try to center it for their players. Here comes Ace Pocket, ball flies right over him, and now look out, Kian might have a shot on goal. Ace Pocket coming right in there with some great disruption.
There is so much back and forth happening between both of these teams right now. It is incredible. The level of skill that's being presented by all 6 of the players on the field is just incredible. There's been great touches and passes coming from both sides. Boise State has made some fantastic saves, aerial plays, and slapping the ball just down on the ground to get some control, as we witnessed right there as the ball went to Cosmobuster and then Baynock, and they're trying to wiggle it up to the side of Utah State right now, but we do see Cryptic once again waiting and ready for that rebound.
And now Kian looking for a clear here with the pass off to Dude in front of Boise State's goal. Cosmobuster with a great save there. Now he is going to pass it off to the center. Kian comes right in there, steals it away from Boise State, and now might have an open goal. Ace Pocket rushes in, and he is going to get a very clutch save right there. Now off the wall, looking to clear it off, get some side control for Boise State. Needs to center it right here. Goes back as Baynock rotates in. Dude and Cosmobuster are going to fight for it in midair. Ball comes right down to the left post, and now Utah State trying to get the clear. Here comes Kian. Ace Pocket playing it over off to the other corner where Baynock comes rotating in, trying to keep it in the orange side, but he's not going to be able to do it. The clear coming through from Utah State. Boise State now looking to go for this second attack. Centers it up, but no one there to follow it up. The only thing we have to show for it is a demo on Griptide, followed by Dude as well. Boise State definitely getting a little chippy.
Well, metered aggression is very important, and Boise State did technically create an opportunity for themselves, having 2 men down on the side of Utah State. There wasn't as many people on the goal, not as much pressure, and that opened it up for them, so they're able to maintain possession of the ball and side control more, but we do see that upper crossbar kind of just being the undoing of Boise State right now. But we see Cosmobuster trying to clear the ball away from the Boise State side. It's just not quite enough, as we have Baynock going over on the wall and it getting knocked straight over to Cryptic on the side of Utah State.
Now 30 seconds left in this match. Boise State would certainly like another goal here to drive, in the spirit of Halloween, the nail into the coffin as Cryptide now tries to find a clear here. Here comes Ace Pocket over him. Kian doing some great defense there, able to get the save. Here comes Baynock, going to try to flick it up and over. Ball in front. Kian, he tries to play it around him, but isn't going to be able to find the goal. Here comes Dude contesting with Ace Pocket right here. Not going to be able to find the clear, and a clear is just what they need, because with those seconds ticking down, I think Boise State has this locked. All they need to do is ground the ball. A demo onto Dude is certainly going to help. In comes Ace Pocket, keeping the ball in the air. They just need to ground it to win. We have seen this so many times before. Are they going to be able?
Oh, that would have been so cool. I'm sorry. I was hoping to see that 1-1 tie right there coming out from Utah State. That is a skill that's very hard to get for players. It is that ball dribble on top of the race car so that it does not touch the ground to extend that overtime. Once again, this is Boise State in our social distancing series as part of the Mountain West Tournament Series, playing against Utah State tonight in Rocket League.
Well, as we can see, after that great first appearance, Boise State is going to be able to get the first victory. And I only saw 3 win columns in the graphic itself, so it looks like, if I am not mistaken, that this is going to be either a best 2 out of 3 or a best 3 out of 5. I would guess best 3 out of 5 because we don't see that many best 2 out of 3s. But either way, Boise State off to a great start, getting that first victory. And I think we've got a very great team here in Utah State, managing to keep Boise State only to 1 goal.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They 100% realize that Boise State gets a lot of goals off of that kickoff initially and set up the remainder of the match to not favor Boise State on those kickoffs. Even if BSU did get the ball right away, they were able to rotate back and make sure that the side control was being pushed onto the side of Boise State a lot. Boise State, of course, was answering with just as much pace, aggression, and ball control as Utah State, so they're both very evenly matched. This is a rare occurrence to see a 1-0 game that was that close, so I'm excited to see the remainder of these matches.
Yeah, Boise State, as they excel so much in the aerial plays, and Utah State really recognized that. In so many 50-50s, they were able to steal it away from Boise State in mid-air. Boise State with an early shot on goal. They're going to be saved by Kian. You also can't discount the overall defense that Utah State has had in this match thus far with so many great saves.
And once again, this is the social distancing series as a part of the Mountain West. We are playing against Utah State, and this is Boise State playing in a game of Rocket League Best of 5. Boise State currently has the first round in this first game.
They have an early lead and might be trying to add to that, but Cryptide there with some great interference is going to prevent the goal from going through. But Boise State managing to get a little bit of side control there with that great clear. Now he's going to contest with Dude, who steals it away from him, forcing Costbuster to keep the play alive. Great clear there by Kian, also credited with the save. Close enough to the goal to be credited with that. Here comes Cryptide now trying to get shot on goal. Baynock comes rushing in midair. It's going to prevent them, and now here's the opening. Boise State can try to go in, but Dude right there when they needed him, clearing it back toward the blue side of the field.
Unfortunately, the follow-up was just not there for Baynock when we need it, as you do see Dude taking out Ace Pocket, so Boise State's going to be down one of their cars just for a short moment of time, and he is spawned back in, so it's back to being 3v3. The ball is mainly staying in the middle, but Baynock has a clean shot on goal, and it's just saved by Cryptic. He has definitely been a goalie to watch out for, and now we have Utah State pushing it to the corners of the side of Boise State, and there's a slight double commit happening on the side of Boise State. And let's just hope that that doesn't spell their doom, as we have Cosmo Buster bringing it down mid to the goal.
Cryptide is going to be credited with a save there. So many great saves coming through from Utah State. Boise State is going to try to follow it up. Kian comes rushing in there, plays it above Baynock. Look at Ace Pocket stealing it away from him right at the moment, setting up for Costbuster. Who's going to find the first goal, putting Boise State into the early lead.
That was a great assist coming out from Ace Pocket. We had both Baynock and Ace on the right-hand side trying to clear that ball out. Cosmo Buster rotating in from the midfield to shoot it in and wrap up that first goal for Boise State in this match, as we are at the 3-minute mark.
Now here comes the next kickoff. Dude getting the better of that one, might be able to get an early goal, but Baynock coming through, MVP in that save. But Utah State might still have something to say about it, as they are the ones with the side control right now. But Cryptide gets demoed, might be giving Boise State the chance they need to clear it. Ace Pocket the better of that 50-50, but in comes Jude, is going to try to center it up for his teammates. Costbuster passes it off to the side, now needs to follow up, misses, isn't able to find the clear, and Boise State still stuck in their own territory.
Yes, Boise State is kind of keeping this ball a little bit too close to their goal for comfort. Their rotations aren't as wide as they are normally having, because they are just kind of having an onslaught come out from the side of Utah State, as Dude takes out Ace Pocket yet again, and Baynock goes down to Dude as well. This man is out for blood right now, as Kian is able to get the ball towards Boise State's goal, but Baynock respawned just in time to save it, as we have Cosmo Buster trying to get some ball control here.
And a shot on goal is going to go through for Cryptide, finding the equalizer for Utah State. I'm going to need to take another look at that. Some great aerial plays. You saw Costbuster was trying to get the clear, but Cryptide came right in there, stopping the clear and getting a goal on top of it. You can't get much better than that.
I'm a little sad that Ace Pocket didn't stick with his bunny ears, but that's okay, as we see Kian get the first clear, and a unfortunate demolition coming out to Cosmo Buster right out the gate. Cryptide is just really out for blood, and Kian's got another shot on goal, taking the ball in from the side, but Cosmo Buster's trying to clear it away. Cryptide's just not letting up, but I don't think he's going to be able to beat his own team to the ball, as Dude is clearing it out right now, but Baynock's trying to get it onto the side of Utah State.
And now Utah State still finds it in their own territory. Here comes the clear through with the pass over to Cryptide, who sets it up in front, and Baynock with a great save there in before Kian could come in there and drive home the goal. So Boise State is still managing to keep this tied, but not a lot of side control as Cryptide tries to set it up. Costbuster with the save, Kian with the follow-up, misses, but no clear going to be able to come through there. Through it, actually Ace Pocket managed to get a little bit of one, but it gets answered so quickly by Utah State. That's been the main key to the game that they haven't been able to follow through here, really, is the side control.
Yeah, and sometimes that just comes with really understanding the tempo and momentum of the game and where it's being set. But right now, Utah State has been sending that momentum, but Baynock is just not giving up. I think that was 2 or 3 taps into the goal that he managed to get that time.
Yeah, and this is a great example of being where you need your teammates to be them. A great rotation and center there. is going to be able to get Boise State into another lead. As we head into the next kickoff, Boise State might want to watch out a little bit as Utah State almost got an early kickoff goal for them themselves. Cosmos needs to rush in here to prevent that goal from being open. Is going to be able to find a little bit of a save there. Looking for the clear. Ace Pocket with some great disruption there before Kian could get a shot on goal.
We are now down under a minute remaining here. Boise State is up by 1 goal, and we do see Utah State is kind of tripping up a little bit as there's a lot of double commits, and the amount of space between each of the players is shrinking dramatically as compared to their previous pushes onto the goal, and Boise State is just widening their net, so to speak, and kind of getting in the heads of Utah State as we see Cosmo Buster trying to clear this ball away from the Boise State goal and do some cute aerial play, and Duke is on the ground, but Ace Pocket is going to be there to go toe-to-toe with Duke and possibly get a shot on goal. It's 30 seconds left in this match.
Look out for Baynock stopping that clear from coming through right off the left post. Isn't going to be able to find the goal. That was so close, but now off the ceiling is going to try to set it up yet again. Here comes Cryptide looking for the clear. Is going to be able to find Ace Pocket. Didn't quite get the angle that he wanted. Costbuster pass back over to Ace Pocket. Tries to center it clear from Utah State. Over above the goal. They need to stop something from being scored here with 4 seconds left. All that ball needs to do is touch the ground, and Boise State has another victory to their name. A great ground there, and they are 2-0. One more to win.
One more to go, and I hope it's just as heart-stopping as that one was. Once again, this is Boise State against Utah State in the Social Distancing Series brought to you by Mountain West. Thank you for joining us this evening. I am Madison Nerdy Burn Benj, and joining me this evening on the desk is Jacob Jem Mountain Palmer.
It is great to have you here with us, Nerdy, both for Overwatch and Rocket League, and I gotta say, this has been the most thrilling match of the night. We have only seen victories by 1 goal, 1-0 in the first game, 2-1 in the second game. You know, as great as it was to see Boise State, you know, just kind of absolutely plow over Utah State in the Overwatch match, it is a lot more thrilling to see it as close as we are seeing it right here in Rocket League.
Okay, so I grew up, I hate to say this, but I grew up as a soccer referee, and one of the greatest things you can see in a soccer game, especially at the higher and more higher skilled levels, is a 1-0 or a 1-1 type of match. That is the type of soccer games you want to see. It's less goals and more technicality and skill that's involved in getting those goals. And that just goes to show that both of these teams are at a level of gameplay that is above and beyond anything that we could expect from your average Overwatch or Rocket League player right now, and they're doing incredible. Both sides are phenomenal. This is definitely a nail-biter.
Yeah, would it be nice if Boise State got a Brazil? Yeah, but at the same time, it's not going to be as exciting as these 1-goal games that we are seeing. And I think the disruption coming through from Utah State is really what's allowing them to go toe-to-toe with Boise State, really stopping those mid-air combos, that mid-air passing that Boise State is so good at from happening entirely, is really pushing the Broncos back on their heels, and we're seeing that a lot in the side control. It has been back and forth, and I would dare say that Utah State might actually have more overall time in the side control.
I dare say that you're right, and if you look just kind of at the numbers coming out of this match, we did see a lot more demos coming out onto the side of Boise State from Utah State. So when it comes just down to the metered aggression that is being used by both these teams, Boise State's kind of pulling back from the we're going to destroy one of you guys instantaneously, so you're down a man and go in, and Utah is just like, okay, we got to take 2 of you out in order to score a goal, and we're going to do that.
Well, it is just one more victory before they wrap up this Gridiron Rivals match, and if they do, that's 2 victories for Boise State in terms of esports, definitely putting a little bit of pressure on the football team to perform as well tomorrow, because this is the Gridiron Rivals event where our esports team compete one day before the football teams face off. And now we are into the final match, and my goodness, is this a bit of an escalation in terms of the overall setting. We have gone from a slight spook to full spook, and I wouldn't have the climax of this match take place in any other sort of arena.
I don't know, I'm getting like Cyberpunk 76 vibes right here, and I love it as we see Baynock open up within the first 20 seconds of the match with the first goal on the side of Boise State. Not quite right off the kickoff, but he had enough pressure there from Cryptide, but that was a fantastic goal and great play from you, Baynock.
And now we are going to go into the second kickoff of the night. 4 minutes, 42 seconds left on the clock. Ball goes up high in the center of the arena. An early demo coming on to Duke. Will Boise State be able to take advantage of that? Well, with that great clear by Cryptide, I wouldn't think so. Duke now back on the side of Utah State. Ace Pocket with a great hit over to the side there is going to keep Utah State from centering the ball. Here comes Kian, is going to go around the corner, try to center it up. Look for the rotation now from Utah State trying to get a shot on goal. There it came through, but Cosmo Buster with a great save there is going to keep that goal from being scored. But now this is what we've been talking about, Nerdy. Boise State has to get that clear and get some side control.
Exactly, and the one thing that Utah State did, I don't know if anyone caught it, but they had boost control on the side of Boise State. So Cosmo Buster did not have any speed to follow up and actually do a good clear right there, and that allowed Cryptide to just turn the ball around immediately as we see Cosmo Buster trying to steal it back, and Cayenne is just there sending it over to Ace Pocket, and the ball is not leaving the side of Boise State right now, and Cosmo's just desperately trying to prevent it from going back.
And unfortunately, no boost there for him, so Baynock is going to have to come in, center it up. Look out for Ace Pocket coming through here. It's going to be able to find the goal, pushing Boise State to a 2-0 lead.
And there was an assist there from Baynock, so he can get credit here. That was a fantastic team play from all of Boise State. Cosmo, you were just in the air all over the place, sending that ball back onto the side of Utah State, being like, yo, my boys, help me out, and your boys responded.
You know, that was very surprising because I was expecting Foley there for Kean to be able to get the save there, because that is as good as Utah State has been with as good as how they've been doing with the defensive plays. I really expected a save there come through, but it didn't, allowing Boise State to go 2-0. Now Cryptide is going to try to clear it, but Baynock comes in with some disruption. Now Boise State has to go back and do a bit of defense on their own. Ball comes toward Kean. Cosbuster steals it away from him, is now going to try to move it up the field. Duke with some disruption there. Ace Pocket clears it over him, and now Ace Pocket with the centering. Now going over to Baynock, who might be able to get the angle there, doesn't quite get it, and now Kean is going to clear that back over to Boise State's goal. Great save there by Cosmo Buster, is going to pass it over to Baynock to get another clear, but not if Cryptide has anything to say about it. Cryptide has been pretty good with the clear, stopping Boise State from getting any sort of push on the opposing goal. He's been clearing a lot.
Definitely, and you can definitely see that Cosmo Buster also has recognized the amount of skill and prowess that Cryptide has been producing, so Cosmo's been keeping an eye on him, saying, you know, we're pretty good players, so I have to keep you in check, and now that is forcing this match to really come down to the communication and the rotations from both of these teams, and they're just beautiful, as we do see Boise State kind of getting bunched up around the goal as Utah is maintaining side control, but the demolition coming out from Baynock on a Keon is leaving with an open goal, and Baynock scores again, getting Boise State the third goal with 2 minutes and 11 seconds on the clock against Utah State.
That was an absolutely beautiful demolition with other members of Utah State right up near Boise State's goal. Kean was the only defense that Utah State has. Once he was eliminated and taken out of the picture, that was a wide open goal for the Broncos. As the kickoff is going to come back here over to Baynock, who tries to get the goal here toward the crossbar, but Kean comes right in there with the save. 2 minutes left now, Boise State with a healthy 3-0 lead. That's certainly the largest lead that we've seen tonight. And can they add on to that? Ace Pocket, the ball flies right over him, not able to take advantage of that pass to him. And now Utah State looking for a bit of a clear to try to get a goal of their own.
And we do see Kean is able to kind of corral the ball over in the corner, but Baynock and Asa were waiting for him, and Duke is able to pick it up and try to bring it over to the side of Boise State with the help of Cryptide, but Cosmo Buster is going to zoom in and force it back over to the side of Utah State as Baynock has another shot at goal, but that dang crossbar always helping out everybody and decided to knock it away. And we do see Baynock again with another shot, but it's going to get cleared out by Duke, and Ace Pocket's now coming in to help out. I don't know if it'll be enough, as it looks like Utah's got a clean clear coming in right now.
But not if Cosmo Buster has anything to say about that, keeping the ball in Utah State's field. This is the side control that we have been looking for thus far. It goes over to Kean, who pops it off the top of his car. Now here comes Cryptide looking to flick it over Cosmo Buster, who misses, allowing Cryptide to go up further, but Baynock there with a great rotation coming in, keeping the ball where it needs to be, right next to Utah State's goal. Here comes the centering pass. Cosmo Buster is going to be able to find it and drive it to 4-0.
That was incredible. I don't know what happened between this match and the match just before it, but the side of Boise State, the rotations are just coming out from them. The passes, the ball control, it's all there, and they know that they have it, and they're just showing everything that they've got.
And now Duke with a great kickoff there is going to try to get an early goal, but Ace Pocket comes right in there, prevents it from happening. The ball heads up the left side of the field. Baynock picks up some boost, rushes in. Now Costbuster up in the air is going to try to center it up for Baynock, who just off the crossbar. Is he going to be able to find it? He's going to set it up again. Ace Pocket coming in again. not going to be able to find it, but so persistent and great rotations there, allowing them to get multiple shots on goals.
Yeah, we are now down to the 20-second mark as we do see Baynock clearing the ball, but Cayenne is waiting for him. But Ace Pocket's trying to outsmart the side of Utah. As it's Baynock with that return on the clear. Oh my gosh, Kurtai, you did a fabulous clear as you've been doing all game. But Baynock kind of predicted it with a 5-head play right here, coming in for the 5th goal in this match right now.
And throw your hats into the Rain Broncos fans, because that is indeed a hat trick for Baynock. And what a way to finish off this match. 10 seconds left. I don't see any way that Utah State can come back for this. Let that clock tick on down and let the Broncos bask in the glory of their win. Able to go 3-0 for the match, ending this final game in spectacular fashion. 5-0. A bit of a celebration there for Baynock, and another diabolical for Boise State. Winning yet again, making this a clean victory overall tonight in both Overwatch and Rocket League for our Gridiron Rivals event.
Oh, look at our cute little pumpkins.
Well, I was going to ask you, Nerdy, if we should predict, say, a player of the game, but I think the pumpkin now. The pumpkin is the true victor.
I mean, I want to vote for the pumpkin, but the pumpkin wasn't holding a controller, so if I have to vote for someone who was holding a controller, it's going to be Baynock.
It might not even be, controllers. Sometimes you can help out the team just by providing moral support and contributing to the overall aura of the general arena here. And I think the pumpkin is certainly top victor in that. But I would have to agree with you, Baynock coming out in spectacular fashion in that final round, picking up the hat trick. And here is the Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game is going to be...
Never mind.
Social distancing series. No, it is, of course, Baynock, who did such a great job tonight.
Yes, that is Baynock. You deserve it. Of course, Cosmo Buster, Ace Pocket, you guys did great as well. Ace, I'm a little upset that you don't have your bunny ears on, but that's okay. I'll accept a dark halo instead. But Baynock, you popped off. Of course, I know that you're like, of course, I couldn't do it without my teammates. Anybody on your team would say the same thing. All of y'all played like all-stars tonight. Hats off to all of you, especially you, Baynock, with your hat trick. That was awesome to watch.
I know the chat is asking who is going to win, and I am not a gambling man myself, but I would be pretty, I want to say I'm pretty confident in the prediction that I am going to be given. And Baynock certainly winning player of the game right there. Brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central's helping members achieve financial success. Baynock is your Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game. And not just in terms of offense, we see a great save coming through from there. Boise State really had a lot of clutch saves tonight.
They had clutch saves, they had clutch plays, they had amazing goals, great kickoff plays. I'm not going to argue about anything that occurred. Granted, of course, Rio can pick them apart. That's his job. He's their coach. As their friend and fellow teammate, so to speak, from a different game, y'all did fabulous. That was great to watch. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. Y'all are great.
Yeah. That is the job of the coaches, though, to be critical like that. I can certainly relate. You have a great night, you win, and then you go over next day. Oh, this was a really sloppy win.
So enjoy it for the next 24 hours.
Yes, enjoy it, and then we'll pick it apart in the next day. But a great night tonight. It was great to have all of you in the chat, and great again to have you with us, Nerdy. It is great to have you back in the arena for some really exciting games, both in Overwatch and Rocket League. And we are not done yet for the night, because we are done in terms of the Boise State matches tonight, but we are also covering the Missouri High School Esports Association match here, as we are going up against Blue Springs and Wellington. I would like a school called Blue Swings. I bet they have the nicest playground. But anyway, we are covering high school matches as well, and we are going to be right back in a bit with that match. So stay tuned, because we will be back with even more Rocket League action.
I mean,
It's about time.
Here in Idaho, we do things a little differently. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. Next, always use fry sauce. I mean, why wouldn't you? Hold steady when out-of-state friends think you're from Iowa. We call it pop, not soda. We always put a lift on our pickups. And we always buckle up because we still have a lot we want to do, and I'm guessing you do too.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
Growing up in Idaho, we have certain rules we live by. Hold steady when out-of-state friends think you're from Iowa. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
It's about time.
Here in Idaho, we do things a little differently. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. Next, always use fry sauce. I mean, why wouldn't you? Hold steady when out-of-state friends think you're from Iowa. We call it pop, not soda. We always put a lift on our pickups. And we always buckle up because we still have a lot we want to do, and I'm guessing you do too.
NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Growing up in Idaho, we have certain rules we live by. Hold steady when out-of-state friends think you're from Iowa. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Good evening, and welcome back to Boise State's esports broadcast. We are in the full Halloween spirit tonight. I'm your host, Jacob Gem Mountain Palmer, and we have just seen a brilliant performance by the Broncos in the Gridiron Rivals event. But now it is time to move on to highlighting some high school esports, and we are definitely looking forward to the next round. But before we get to that, a quick look around the arena that has been fitted out a little bit for Halloween. We saw the pumpkin, which played such a huge role in the last game, real MVP of the night. You also saw the arcade cabinet there with Ghosts and Goblins, I believe, being played on there. So giving a little bit of people who are in here a bit of a challenge, because a game that's not just frightening in terms of its pure aesthetic, but also in its overall difficulty level. And we are looking at the Missouri High School Esports Association, which we are going to be doing the cast for you thus far tonight. And we are going to now look at the two teams that are playing, which are going to be playing, if I believe correctly, I think it actually is, I set it up as Rocket League, but it actually is Overwatch, so forgive me for that mix-up. But no matter what game we play, it is going to be certainly interesting. So it is going to be Blue Springs and Wellington playing tonight in this high school match. And we definitely have a lot of gameplay that took place before this to kind of set the stage of maybe what both of these teams want to kind of go for tonight. Because Boise State, in their match in Overwatch, certainly set a huge standard. We saw some great replays that we are going to get to right now in terms of Overwatch. We saw some great plays from individual players on these teams, and actually a preview, if you will, from Rocket League or Overwatch. No matter what game we're playing, we will bring it to you right now. But this was Boise State in Rocket League, which did such a great job, and it was actually a really exciting match because even though the third match of the game, this was the best 3 out of 5, and in the third game, Boise State had quite a large lead going 5-0. But for the first two games, it was just like you see right here. Only 1-goal leads for either team. See Kean coming in right here. Utah State did such a great job of kind of preventing the aerial plays that Boise State is known to so far, as well as doing some great aerial plays themselves. But Baynock not only came through as player of the game in terms of getting a hat trick in the final round, scoring a lot of great goals, but for great clutch saves that you saw right there. This is a look at the third match that we played tonight in Rocket League, the one that Boise State went 5-0. You can see Cosmo Buster right there, got the clear, and this is where Boise State really kind of shone through a bit in terms of getting the side control that they were looking for. You can see right here, they're looking for the clear, and Ace Pocket is right there where they need him to be with the rotation, getting the goal for them. And Boise State, when they're on point with the rotations, they're on point. But what else can you expect from a veteran team like this? Baynock, Ace Pocket, Costbusters. These are players that have been with us for years. They are veteran players of this program and know how to communicate with each other, know how to call out their shots, and when they are on fire, they are on fire, as Baynock just proved right there. He was the person to get the only hat trick of the match tonight, able to come in, rotate there, and just chip it in right there in terms of the overall match. You can see right there what looks to be a pretty impressive setup right there, I gotta say. It's I haven't seen that yet. This is my first time seeing that setup, and that's certainly a nice way to show off of what kind of PC that you are going for. But I can also know that Boise State, in terms of its general equipment, also has some great facilities here so that our players can perform at their top level. And a big thank you to everyone who has been a partner. And speaking of thank yous, of course, we have to give a big thank you to production and a shout out to production, who makes us look so great here on screen. They put in so much work and are definitely worthy of your praise and adoration, because with just great transitions like that, it is what brings us to another person we should probably also thank, Doc Haskell, head coach of Boise State Esports. It's great to have you with us. I gotta say, in terms of the overall Halloween mood, you have got the best lighting right now. You've got the light coming up on you. Yes, it looks very dramatic. Welcome. So what have you got to bring for us, Doc?
Well, I'm not Nerdy Bird, but we're about to drop into this game. What I wanted to say, to tell you, and because this is your first time with the Missouri High School Esports Association, that we got to meet them a little bit over the break and saw that they were doing some really cool things and kind of stepped up and said, hey, if you want, we may be able to broadcast some things. And when the Overwatch then created easier ways for us to observe matches after they had already happened, we came up with a pretty good formula to be able to do this stuff. So I'm excited for you and Nerdy to be able to call this. These are high school kids, and some of them could be talent that heads this way. Yes. Mm-hmm. So yeah, pretty cool.
Not trying to drop too many hints for recruiting there, but there you go. So it is great. And what's just kind of been the general performance level? High school instead of college, but I assume we can still look forward to some amazing plays.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, there was an amazing young DPS player, 4,100, competitive average. There are definitely some high quality players in Missouri. I mean, Missouri kind of the hub of where all of the esports in collegiate grew. So it doesn't surprise me at all that you've got some amazing high school programs that are spinning up there, and we want to know who those kids are because some of them might want to be Broncos.
Yeah, it would be great to have them here, and we will definitely see some of that performance coming through for us in this Missouri High School Esports Association match, the MHSEA, in terms of acronyms, if you are looking forward to that. So is there anything else we should be looking forward to here, Doc?
Well, you know what? For a lot of these programs, you're going to see a variance in abilities. You can see some unique comps because some of the players have lower levels of experience. I mean, they don't have all of the heroes. So yeah, I think you'll enjoy this a lot.
Alrighty, well, it looks like the first map that we are going to be going on is Legion Tower, Blue Springs, and Wellington Napoleon. You both see there. In terms of overall comps, it looks like we do see the Hammond and Rhine on the side of Blue Springs, and a bit more of a divey composition from Wellington Napoleon as well. I'm going to be interesting to see how much mileage they do get out of this Sombra here, because she, with her EMP, can be absolutely devastating, but just good old elimination is going to be pretty well, as she is going to pick up the first one against the Echo, as Casey Vett also is able to pick off Blue Springs' Lucio as well. So a great start up there by Wellington Napoleon. Also a hack coming on to Hammond, and that wasn't the only tank that had a bit of problem. Redcon also was able to get the early elimination onto Blue Springs as well. And you see there the ultimate coming up from the Symmetra as well, but that was a bit too little too late in my mind. Blue Springs was already way behind on eliminations there, and I have to wonder if that was maybe just a panic ult that was set up, because there was no chance at that point that they were going to be able to get that.
I think that was more of a, I have it, I'm just going to use it to exert what little dominance I have right now from spawn, because we do see that the Symmetra on the side of Blue Springs swapped over to that Doomfist to allow for more of that dive in, dive out, we got to pick a target and jump on them all together type of deal coming out from the side of Blue Springs. So let's hope that with that change up in their gameplay will help a little bit, but their Doomfist is already hacked by the Sombra, so that will already be doing the undoing for that comp, as we do see Bioshock on the side of Blue Screens go down, and then Brett from the side of Wellington as a Diva Bomb is being thrown out, and it does take out the Reaper on the side of Blue Screens.
And of course, someone who is no stranger to great gameplay in Overwatch, Nerdy Bird is joining me to call out all the action, including that great Death Blossom from Wellington Napoleon. A double there onto the Reaper, followed up by two by Casey Vett and Blaze 22 from Wellington is going to allow them to keep the point and go past 60% charge.
Okay, so Wellington has some great ultimates in their back pocket for defensive and attacking purposes. We do see that Blaze has that EMP blast as well as the Lucio sound barrier from Redcon. I'm not counting Coalescence because that's just an ability on cooldown. Everybody knows that. And on the side of Blue Springs, they don't have any ults online, and they don't have the ability to counter that EMP blast right now. And this comes out for a huge team kill with this Moira ultimate that is happening but disappearing on our screen. Holy cow, that was dirty as we see that triple kill come out. I'm going to call that a team effort with the supplemental beam going down.
It is never good to just see your team's heads-up display and then just see those orange skulls just flooded, because that was 5 people getting hacked in once from that EMP. And now Bioshock 18 is going to come up, try to push past the point. He does have the shatter. We will see if he uses it right now as the Winston shield goes down. Mason McFly getting the first elimination there. He is going to try to charge into the Moira, doesn't quite find it. Nebula and Turtle Manos are now going to start the eliminations rolling for Wellington Napoleon right now, as they are going to be able to try to take the point. It looks like just 99% charge. They have finally managed to get it for themselves, but that's just one good engagement from Blue Springs, as actually the colors were reversed. So Blue Springs is the one actually that's in the driver's seat here, needing only one good engagement to take it.
Okay, and they do have their tank ultimates online, as well as Bentley is going to have that Death Blossom again. We might see a multi-kill come out from that, but Wellington is chilling out with 5 of their ults ready, so if they are able to hit Q first, the amount of time they have and the amount of percentage on their side will go up if they use these ultimates correctly, as we see the Coalescence and Shatter come out, and the other Coalescence to answer, followed up with a Death Blossom, but Turtle is just going in and going ham. He's dropping with the Meteor Strike as that Death Blossom took out 4 on the side of Wellington. Holy cow, that was insane.
Well, I know you said it was who's gonna press Q first, but it was actually Blue Springs with their fighting back. Was that just a diva? Was that just a little bit of showmanship at the end there with that triple diva bomb?
A little bit. I won't lie. Divas will do that. It's very satisfactory when you throw your bomb, the round ends, and then you do hear that slight triple kill in your ear in transition. It's a little dirty victory you get to have in between rounds. Yeah,
it is just a little bit of cheekiness. We actually saw some cheekiness from you. I remember one of our TARP clips is when they had a Far Mercy off the edge of Ilios, and you just sent the Diva Bomb out there and sniped them. And then, of course, did a friendly little wave.
Of course, that's how you play Diva. But going into this round, I see that there is a Diva on the side of Wellington, but not on the side of Blue Springs. Blue Springs is going with that standard Ryan Zarya comp, which is going to be playing against them with the amount of speed that they're having. However, Wellington's deciding that they're going to take this fight inside server room, which is more to an advantage for Blue Springs, as Turtle goes down first in this small area, and now they're turning on to that Reaper, and we do see that the Winston has gone down for the side of Wellington, and followed up by that Brigida. That was quite a little bit of a strange pick, but we do see Wellington now swapping over to that Sombra, basically conceding this fight to the side of Blue Springs while they regroup and get ready for the re-engage.
I do have to say, we do see Bread as one of the gamer tags for Blue Springs. Between Bread and Bagel on the side of Boise State, I don't know what it is in carb-based snacks. That's really been the key point of the Overwatch matches tonight, but we have been seeing a lot of that. Blue Springs is definitely hoping to see a good engagement thus far. No ultimates online for either team yet, but in terms of what's soon going to be online, Nebula is going to very soon have that Coalescence, as well as Blue Springs as Moira as well. And the Death Blossom and Shadow are going to be online very soon for Blue Springs as well.
Yeah, we have both tank lines now actually mirroring, but Wellington made the swap a little too late, so Blue Springs has the advantage there with the amount of CC that they're going to be able to produce, as well as forward damage, as Bioshock is able to take out one, and followed up with their Zarya taking out the Reaper, and Moira followed up by Bread going down. That gluten has been acquired for the side of Wellington. And they're not even using their ultimates, they're just charging them. Neither side popped them, so this next engage, that was a dry fight, so to speak. We could see a lot of Qs clicked in this next round, in this next fight, and it may not fall in favor of either team, honestly.
Yeah, we saw just last round how when all these Qs are pressed, the ultimates can bring one team straight back to victory. There comes the Coalescence out first from Blue Springs, answered by Wellington Napoleon. Dueling Coalescence coming out well as the Shatter, but Brett is going to be eliminated right after he presses that Shatter. Bandley, before he can use the Death Blossom, as well, is going to be eliminated by Mason McFly. McFly. So even without that ultimate, Mason McFly doing a great job as a DPS. And that's the second engagement, actually, Nerdy, that Bandley hasn't been able to use his ultimate. It was a very nice hack there by the Symmetra the first time that was able to prevent him from it. So even preventing them from using their ultimates by just getting good old-fashioned eliminations has been something that Wellington Napoleon has been doing great thus far.
Yeah, Wellington's doing a great job rotating their abilities, and that EMP that just came out onto the side of Wellington from Blue Springs was great, followed up by a Reaper, but then Wellington is able to use a Death Blossom. It does pick up one, but we see the tanks doing work from the side of Blue Springs, and Blue Springs is able to regain control of the point, so that is going to be a regroup for Wellington once again, but they do have that Graviton Surge. Retcon has a Sound Barrier, however, they do have their Ana on the side of Wellington, so if they use their Reinhardt during the Graviton Surge to take out the other Reinhardt, so just dive through Bread, get that anti, that Sound Barrier is going to do nothing, and I really hope that's what Wellington's planning to do. As we see them trying to sneak up to the high ground, maybe to goat the other team into all being on point grouped up to allow for the grab to really work, and I don't know if it'll come to fruition, but we'll hope as we see the EMP and the grab and the Reinhardt charge! Ah, it was also perfect! Yes, that was incredible! That is what I love to see!
Well, I'm just going to leave it at that because I don't think there's anything else I could add to that in terms of commentary that would sell that engagement as well. Wellington Pauline with a great engagement there. That EMP coming through in spades for them. Now, Blue Springs, they aren't going to be counted out just yet because they have got Coalescence, they've got the Beat, they've got the Death Blossom, and they have got the Shatter available to them as well. But if there's one thing that Blue Springs might have learned from this match is that if Wellington Napoleon can get those picks off before those ultimates can be used, then that advantage isn't going to be able to be used for them. But the Beat there is going to give Blue Springs a little bit of survivability, and there goes the ultimate from the Lucio. Bread gets hit with the Sleep Dart. Bioshock is going to be able to be taken out on Wellington Napoleon. The elimination coming on to Nebula and Mason McFly as well, as the Coalescence is burned from Blue Springs. And Blue Springs still has their Death Blossom and their Grab available too if they choose to use it. They are in a really good spot right now, having the ult advantage and being able to dictate how this final engagement comes out.
We are down to the final seconds as we see the tank line from Wellington creating that overtime just barely with the Shatter coming out onto the tanks of Blue Screens being huge, followed up with a Death Blossom and a grab from Turtle and Mason. The DPS are taking out the other DPS. Another nano boost on the Mason. He's almost got another Reaper ultimate ready to go. He takes out Bread, tries to get Moira, but he does go down with that the kinetic grass there from Moira, and it looks like Blue Springs will get that point.
Yeah, Blue Springs being great in that first match, getting the early lead in this matchup. I do assume it is still going to be best 3 out of 5. So judging on what we saw in the Boise State match, this could either be a hybrid map or a payload map. But at the same time, you want to be tuned in here on the 6th and 7th of November for the Rocky Mountain Warfare Invitational Redux, hosted by the Idaho Army National Guard, which will broadcast live from the BSU Esports Arena in downtown Boise. This is your chance to represent your state in a multi-state Warzone Duos tournament. If you're in Oregon, Montana, Idaho, or South Dakota, this event is for you. This is the perfect opportunity to ask the Idaho Army National Guard about how they can help you get an education in gaming and interactive media. You can reach out to them at all of those social media links that you saw below. And in terms of looking at our overall broadcast schedule, we can see we are currently on the Gridiron Rivals with Utah State. We have Overwatch coming up, a lot of Overwatch in NACE, but also Valorant and Rocket League as well. So some great overall matches. In terms of what you can look forward to in upcoming Gridiron Rivals matches, it looks like we've got Air Force, BYU, Colorado State, and Hawaii coming up in the next few weeks, and Nerdy was definitely happy to hear about that.
Okay, well, Air Force is a great group of people that they're a hoot to play with. I'm not gonna lie, like, they take all of these games seriously to an extent, but they understand that they're playing playing within their limits, and they're more or less doing it kind of as a hobby, but they are still a team, so it's more like a rec league for them, in my opinion. But they are the sweetest group of people I have ever been able to talk to. Like, granted, it wasn't face-to-face, nor was it over real comms. It was all in, the match chat that was happening before the matches when I played against them. But they're all just so sweet, and it's fantastic that we're still able to play against them. And of course, I'm excited to take on BYU. I am totally 100% biased in that department, and will tell you that my team better win, or they will be getting words from me, and many words from me, and it will not end. But overall, we've got some great games coming up. And yes, of course, Overwatch is the team to look out for. But don't forget our Valorant team and our Siege teams, though they aren't kind of like center stage, are popping off as well. I know our Valorant team has basically gone undefeated. So if you have the opportunity and the time, check out one of those streams too.
I mean, I can't think of a better way to represent Boise State esports as an overall operation than how the Valorant team has been performing. You think of Valorant, this brand new game that is launched onto the esports scene, in Boise State being the forefront and the leaders in that, much as they have been leaders in esports overall, being able to put up some great performances in so many different games as they've started their esports program. We are a couple years into that program now, and it has certainly matured into something that is very nice to watch being here in this arena. I'm sure you can attest, Nerdy, how far this program has come.
Oh yeah, for sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And if you are in our chat room right now hanging out, don't forget that you can vote for a player of the game. Even though these are not our players that we are familiar with, we do like to celebrate everyone that's involved in esports, so make sure you participate in that poll, because I'm pretty sure it'll warm the hearts of these high schoolers we're watching.
Yeah, it is great to have players, people cheering for their teams in the Twitch chat. We thank all of you who are watching in Twitch right now. And whether it's college or it's high school, Kings Row stays as the constant in these overall Overwatch matches, as we are getting into the second match of Hybrid. And I believe I see Wellington Napoleon is going to be on defense, as Blue Springs is going to try to push.
Yeah, so Wellington is taking that double barrier that we saw basically fall of last year being more meta, and they're combining double hit scan, so it's high ground control, focusing on those discords coming out from their Zenyatta and using Mercy boost accordingly. As we do see, Blue Springs is rotating through Hotel. Unfortunately, they did not rotate fast enough. Red lost his barrier and was easily taken out by Mason. And then Blaze was able to take out the Widowmaker on the side of Wellington Napoleon. But the fight's dragging out a little bit as we see the Mercy also trying to survive. She gets taken out. Moira is able to help back up Bradley and take out the Orisa as well as Mason. And that is a clean first engage from Blue Springs onto point 8.
Yeah, going to be able to take that quite early, and I do see a bit of an interesting, some swaps going on for Wellington Napoleon, switching on to a Ryan Zarya composition, as well as bringing out May.
Yes, so if my hunch is correct, what they're going to do is they're going to re-engage this fight either at a corner or, yeah, the only option here is at a corner. They do not have a Lucia, so they're going to basically be walling up this gateway right here and hacking who they, not hacking them, but freezing off who they can. Wall and maul is the thing that we've seen come out from Boise State as this payload's trying to pass through this choke. If they conga line, it's going to be their undoing, so they have to go together. And we do hear that the soldier is using his attack visor to push back the side of Blue Springs, which is also giving Wellington more time to charge their ultimate so they can better hold off Blue Springs here at this choke point. And May is going to be helping with that, as well as we see the shatter online coming from Wellington, but the Reinhardt's going to be taken out while Mercy is valking. She might be able to get that res off as we hear it. The animation sounds happening, but don't see one. I don't think she was able to pull off that res, but the side of Blue Springs is just pushing forward, charging all of their ultimates, and they are not daunted by anything that Wellington's throwing forward right now.
No, it is slow but steady as the shatter comes out, taking out the soldier, as well as KCVED getting an elimination of his own by taking out Big AV. And Blue Springs now is fully loaded. Well, not fully loaded, but it certainly looks like that on their ultimates. This Reaper is just charging through without a care in the world. Going to be going after this Mercy here, putting some great damage onto her, but is not going to be able to get the elimination. But the Reinhardt isn't a bad target as well. Unfortunately, as he gets that, the Zenyatta is going to answer him and get the elimination from him to him as well.
That was a fantastic push forward from Blue Springs. Their DPS and tanks rotated and metered their aggression perfectly to allow for their team to sustain and keep control of that payload while they pushed back Wellington, who unfortunately was kind of staggering to throw bodies forward to at least stall that payload, but in reality what they needed to do was do a full reset and regroup and make sure they are at full health in order for a clean engage. As you do see Blaze right there looking like they're ready for this EMP to have a follow-up from Wellington. The question is, what Ultimate's going to follow up? A 6-man EMP coming from Blue Springs. That's just dirty. If we do see that, Brad has his Death Blossom. He's just hanging on to it, daunting the enemy right now.
My goodness, you cannot ask for any better than that. A 6-man EMP from Blaze 22. And Blue Springs has much more in their holster because they've also got the Shatter, the Grab, and the Death Blossom as well. Wellington Napoleon also having that. Now, I might be interested to look out for maybe a Grab Death Blossom combo here, as the Grab and the Blizzard as well as the Transcendence are all used from Wellington Napoleon. And Brett is going to be the first casualty of that. Bandley following up as the Reaper is eliminated. Redcon is going to fall off the side, so it looks like Blue Springs is pretty committed to this reset.
Wellington was able to hold that, but they did pop a lot of ultimates, including that McCree Deadeye, which if Fish was here, he would tell you that there was no kills during that, but it was a great zoning ult. It actually, during that entire animation sequence of the McCree ult happening, you could see Blue Springs backed up entirely, but their arsenal as it comes to ultimates is a lot higher than that of Wellington Napoleon, and that could be their undoing during this next fight, as we do see the Reinhardt on the side of Wellington get hacked, taken down, followed up by a Shatter and a Graviton Surge, both at the same time. Not sure if that was advantageous, but they might have locked in this payload onto the point, and they do with 3 minutes and 51 seconds remaining with a victory Death Blossom and Coalescence coming out from the side of Wellington. That was a great pushback from both sides. Holy crud, I'm excited for round 2.
I mean, you know, getting a team kill is pretty advantageous in and of itself, so.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm excited to see what type of defense will be coming from the side of Wellington this time. They got to see what Blue Springs had to offer. They were a little bit countered here and there. We did see some really bad staggers come out, unfortunately, on the side of Wellington that weren't really so much their fault, but hopefully they'll be able to realize that they need to stick together, use that natural cover, and regroup as a full team before they push to not lose as much time, and are able to finish out this round and maybe see some overtime, because I love overtime on Kings Row.
Yeah, Kings Row, definitely the map that lends itself to these nail-biting ends. We have seen so many times where it has been overtime. No seconds left on the clock, and the team is on that final point. So as much as we like to joke about this map being picked so much, it does lend itself to some really exciting broadcasts.
Yes, and because it's used so commonly, it allows people to make some really kooky comps and some really mean and disrespectful Statue of Liberty / Statue of Pain plays. I'm looking at you, Boise State and Scout, because I know another school did it. I saw them do it. I was scouting, you Scout. That is the school that did it. But we do see that Wellington's kind of swapping up a little bit, pulling out that Pharah. Blue Springs does not have a tank to counter Pharah, but they have that Widow that was doing work last round, and even with a Mercy Pocket, I'm excited to see how that goes. And we are sticking with the McCree again, and we do see a Roadhog coming out on the side of Wellington as well.
Roadhog is going to get that damage orb first off, and a quick swap onto Reaper from Wellington Napoleon. Blue Springs now, neither team is going to have that Pharah, so something we were talking about a little bit at the beginning, but not necessarily coming to fruition. As the first engagement comes out here, Short Stack taking a lot of damage, as well as Bioshock 18 is going to have to duck back to pick up some healing from that healing orb there. Is now going to try to go around the statue here, trying to get a little bit of a better angle. Finds out the Junkrat, but isn't able to nab him with the hook. But that Junkrat putting a lot of damage onto the tanks, and now Bandley is going to be the first elimination, followed by Mason McFly eliminating Redcon. KCVET is going to answer that. There comes the Shatter from the Reinhardt, and Reinhardt picks up a bunch of eliminations as well following that, allowing Blue Springs to hold this point.
Wellington did a great job, but that engage that they took, the rotation, the pathing was just a little bit too slow. It allowed for a lot of poke damage to come out from the side of Blue Springs. Yes, they were able to take out the Widowmaker on the side of Blue Springs, but they did not have enough momentum going forward to finish out that cleanup on the point, and that does give Blue Springs a quite clear advantage when it comes to the ultimates right here into this next engage. So Wellington needs to rotate quickly, needs to rotate fast, find that juicy target, which in this case might be the Ana, and get her taken care of quickly and utilize that natural cover, because they are just taking too much damage right now in the face.
Well, in terms of ultimates and juicy targets, might be able to pick one up with that Riptire, but we will have to see if that happens. He is just going to use his normal fire to take out the Moira from Wellington Napoleon, so a great hold here by Blue Springs thus far. As Wellington Napoleon stuck a little bit behind that statue, bit of a healing orb coming through there from the Moira as they wait for her to respawn. But Blue Springs has a lot now in terms of ultimates. They've got the Riptire, they've got Grab, they have got Transcendence as well. And now the Junkrat goes back behind, is able to pick up the Moira yet again. Divamech is going to be taken out by the Reaper, and now Transcendence is used by Blue Springs, keeping them alive on the point, allowing their DPSs and supports to just go haywire onto Wellington Napoleon.
Okay, I'm not trying to be rude here, but I would really like to know the SR of Blaze just because of his utility usage as well as the map geometry that he is using. He's demonstrating skill of that of a player that I would expect to be in Masters, if not have hit top 500 more than once. He is incredible and definitely a force on the side of Blue Springs right now. It's really intriguing to watch, and he's already got another Riptire. Let's see if we can see a multi-kill with this next fight happening. As we see a huge shatter come out! Oh my goodness! And then a Reaper Death Blossom that does pick up Zenyatta. And unfortunately the Moira on the side of Wellington also goes down, but Nebula is able to pick up 2 kills with the Coalescence. So now this is a war of attrition, and to see who can re-engage cleaner and stay alive longer.
And now we see the McCree Big Av coming through here from Wellington Napoleon, having the Deadeye available to him. I don't want to say that's the best ultimate in the game, but maybe I should just to spite fish. But either way, Wellington Napoleon in a great position thus far, taking the first point. A little bit over 3 minutes left to push the payload.
Okay, we do see McCree is trying to get into a position to use his Deadeye advantageously. This I will count as a zoning ult opportunity too because of how much open space is here. You don't need to kill anybody, but you need to push back Blue Screams around that corner by Library to give the side of Wellington enough space to push that payload through that archery, but they don't have anybody chilling on payload. Never mind, they've got 4 people as they did lose their Reaper. And pushing the payload, trying to get it through archery, but they're gonna have to reset without that Reaper's forward damage force. There's just not enough to get through that choke.
And I don't know how you could use that zoning Deadeye when we did see Zenyatta was quite aware of the McCree up there with how many damage orbs that he put onto him. He is going to be able to also pick up an elimination onto Nebula as well. So Blue Springs hanging on to a lot of ultimates, not necessarily needing them right now to be able to hold Wellington Napoleon. And I gotta say, I do like the Zenyatta, just the awareness he is showing of the overall map. And a great shatter there as well is going to be able to take out Blaze as well. Both of those shatters have been amazing.
Yeah, they've gotten some very tasty shatters. That's the only way I can put it. Like those were so satisfying to see. Like we didn't get that many huge shatters coming out from Boise State today, and these guys are definitely like, you know, filling my meter, so to speak, on the satisfaction of huge ultimates happening. We do see a Graviton Surge coming online for KC right now on Blue Springs, but they do have the sound barrier on Wellington, so they can counter that. It's just going to be a matter of, oh, unfortunately for Bio, that Shatter's just not going to go in his favor, but the Coalescence Beam is going to keep him alive through an anti, and the Zen is forced to pop Transcendence while the team is trying to retreat, leaving Blue Springs on the payload.
Blue Springs continuing to push forward.
Oh wait, sorry, that's Wellington.
Oh, well, excuse me. Wellington, you know what? This is the confusing part. Blue Springs is in orange and Wellington's in blue. When that's the real confusing part about this. But overall, Wellington doing a decent job now of pushing forward to the second checkpoint. However, they only have a minute left, and you have to remember Blue Springs has 351 on the total clock because they did such a good job the first time. Now, here comes the Riptire. We're going to see if Blaze can show off some skill with that. Up over the roof is going to be able to take out the Moira. That is a great play right there. KC Vet, Herb Noodles, and Bread all getting a little bit of that elimination glory for themselves as well. And a great stagger onto there as well is going to keep Wellington Napoleon from getting back to that payload, and with only 30 seconds left, a stagger was just what Blue Springs was asking for.
Yeah, and Blue Springs in the ult department, they have banked 3 of them. Granted, their Zenyatta's only halfway to his next one, but you can definitely get that charge by the end of this fight, whereas Wellington only has that Deadeye still 2 fights later and no other ults that are on cooldown, so to speak. Their Echo is close, but that means they have to draw out this next fight longer than 13 seconds, and that's going to be really hard without their Ryan, as we do see Blaze taking him out with just a lot of forward fire, and Short Stack getting stuck in a trap from the Junkrat as well going down, so Wellington has no tanks as the grab goes off from KC, and Junkrat is just going in and being relentless. We hear the high noon get paused
and nothing comes of it as McCree's just destroyed, followed up by a Reaper Death Blossom onto Mason, and I just don't think Wellington's going to get a full foothold on this payload in order to push it to checkpoint 2.
Oh, I just gotta say, you know, that's Fish's biggest complaint against the Deadeye is just when you're using it, you're completely standing still and open. And what better way to demonstrate that than with the Junkrat just lobbing? As soon as you spot the Deadeye, he just lobs a bomb right into you. And as Fish, I think that might be Fish's play of the game right there, because it just proves him right. But I gotta say, overall, Blaze on this Junkrat, absolutely insane with the plays that we've seen him. Not only in just the terms of the raw eliminations, but the way that he's been able to use his mines to get that altitude, that map awareness. Like you were saying, if not Masters, top 500.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it takes some skill and a little bit. I think that was a bit of a flex coming from him with some of that high aerial play on his Junkrat. He may be a one trick. Who knows? I doubt he is, because that was incredible.
Yeah. So, in terms of overall player of the game, I would nominate Blaze22, but is there anyone else that you could think of that really stood out to you in terms of player of the game?
I'm definitely going to go with Blaze just because that Junkrat play was phenomenal. I can't argue you deserve that one.
But we do have another game, so maybe there is something that we can see from any of the other players that might take that player of the game thus far. So we're just going to have to see. Everyone, keep it in your minds as you're watching this third game, because, of course, you can nominate a player of the game in the Twitch chat. So if you see something that you like in this next game, please let us know in the chat. As we are going to be heading into the third round, my guess would be we are looking at an overall payload map. We saw Havana being used in the Boise State match. What would you say? What are you feeling tonight?
Just because everybody seems to have a love-hate relationship with this payload map, I'm going to say it, and it's going to be Junkertown.
Junkertown. I do like Junkertown. We do see some very interesting comps. We do see the pirate ship used on occasion on Junkertown. It is an overall fun map. But as both teams head into this final match, they can take into account Doc's keys to the game in Overwatch. Win your first fight always, call your targets early and follow through, have a plan for every ultimate, and get your midterms done early, or whatever the equivalent is in your high school in this current semester. Doc's keys to the game brought to you by Count Identity Trust Global Network, which delivers real-time fraud protection, account protection, and enables personalized customer experiences for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. Linked by Count's award-winning AI, the Identity Trust Global Network analyzes signals from 32 billion annual interactions in order to personalize user experiences across a spectrum of trust. From frictionless experiences to blocking fraud, quick, accurate identity trust decisions, and delivering safe payment, account creation, and login events, while reducing digital fraud, chargebacks, false positives, and manual reviews. Count.com. I gotta say.
Oh, I feel so bad for these guys. They're doing 2CP. Everyone hates 2CP. It was probably either this or Horizon Lunar Colony. I'm sorry that you have to choose between these maps, but we do see that I believe it's Wellington is on defense first. They pulled out a Junkrat as well as that Sigma Orisa again, so going with that double shield combo. As we do see Blue Springs kind of changing things up. Blaze is on May, but they have 2 dive tanks, so this is going to be interesting. And we do see Blaze using some incredible utility with the May, taking out the Orisa on the side of Wellington. So this strange comp that they put together is working great in the favor of Blue Springs.
Yeah, Blue Springs, KC Vet able to get the elimination onto the Ana short stack, and Turtleman answering that, evening it up a little, but Blue Springs still has a one-man advantage. Short stack very low on health as Red gets the elimination onto the Echo, followed by Blaze22, taking out a tank and a support as well, allowing Blue Springs to get the first point in very little time, and that can be very influential in 2CP because of how snowbally this map, this particular mode can be. All right, I was thinking of Volskaya in terms of snowballing maps, but in terms of just this overall kind of mode, getting the first point that early really spells out good things for you.
Yes, 2CP is kind of classic. It's a snowball if you have it, and Blue Springs is lined up to do a snowball as their ultimates are way higher charged than that of Wellington Napoleon right now. Wellington is looking like they're really only going to have their Moira ult for this next engage, whereas Blue Springs is going to have their May ult online. Their Reaper's not going to be there, but they're still going in anyway as they do have their Winston ultimate ready to go. We hear the Coalescence being popped.
as May's trying to cry out to stay alive a little bit longer, and Reaper and Bioshock are able to pick up 2, as well as Mason picking up Blaze on the side of Blue Springs. So even without a whole lot of ults, Napoleon was able to hold off Blue Springs and prevent that snowball effect, which is now forcing Blue Springs to swap up their comp and pull out that Reaper, well, the Reinhardt and Zarya combo once again, but Blaze did not pop his ultimate, so they do still have Blizzard as well as a Nano Boost and Sound Barrier on the side of Blue Springs. So interesting to see if they're able to cap with just a Mei ult in their pocket.
I mean, the Mei ult is a great one if you are able to land it on all of the members of the other team. It is that great first engagement ultimate. Here comes the Riptire, being able to take out 2 of Blue Springs. So maybe a bit of a statement there to Blaze22. Hey, I can do a great Riptire as well. KC Vet is going to answer that by taking out the Junkrat as soon as he gets those eliminations. But overall, pushing Blue Springs back a little bit, forcing them to get a little bit of a reset.
Yeah, Turtle, maybe the Junkrat pick was more of a, I see you over there, Blaze.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
Exactly! And we do see Short Stack now has a Graviton Flux on cooldown, but we do see that being coupled with the Mei ult. So 2 CC ultimates coming out at the same time may not work in the favor of Blue Springs, as we see a Nano as well being popped and followed up by the Death Blossom from Short that took out 3 and a follow-up, well, Mason took out so many, and then Shortcake was in there helping out too. That was an incredible hold, but now we're kind of back to ground zero on the ultimates as far as what's 100% charged, but Blue Springs almost has their tank ultimates, so it's like they're rotating the tank ults and then using their DPS ults early to force an extended fight, so to speak. I'm getting their play style here. It's use the DPS ults to drag out a fight and then use the tank ults if we need to win the fight. That's what they're doing. And it's a very solid plan here for Temple of Anubis because of how far that spawn is.
Well, Wellington Napoleon pushing out Blue Springs. A great halt there is going to bunch all of them up together. Brett taking a lot of damage, but unfortunately after that halt, Bioshock is going to be eliminated by the Junkrat. Coalescence used by Nebula to kind of push through that choke point. As they still try to continue, I don't see them kind of rotating around. They are really committed to pushing through this doorway here. It's going to push. The Doomfist comes right in there. Isn't going to be able to get a lot of mileage. He's taken out by Retcon as well. So now, with the Gravitic Flux being used by Wellington Napoleon, Bioshock and Nebula get eliminations onto Brett and Retcon respectively. Blue Springs taking a ton of damage, Vanley eliminated, followed by KC Vet. Wellington Napoleon certainly putting up a very valiant defense. We were talking about with all the time left, Blue Springs early can take this second point. Wellington Napoleon has something to say about that.
Yeah, but you do see that Blue Springs made that very important swap to the Hanzo. We are expected to see a Graviton Surge comboed with the Dragon Strike arrow, whereas Wellington has nothing to defend against that. And I don't think they hit tab and realize how long this Hanzo's been here. Just one fight, he already has his ultimate almost ready to go. So this next engage could be a clean team wipe for the side of Blue Springs because Wellington does not have a defensive ultimate ready to counter that, and they didn't even switch to a BAP for a short-term solution.
Nano Boost is going to be used as well as the Bongo from Wellington Napoleon, so they're going to go on with the Coalences, putting out a ton of damage onto Blue Springs, and Retcon and Blaze22 are taken out. So some great usage there to keep Blue Springs from getting to that point. But you are right, Nerdy, they do still have that very crucial ult combination. So all they need is that one engage to completely wipe Blue Springs, and Wellington Napoleon can continue. They need to wipe out Wellington Napoleon. So Blue Springs, which is orange, which I'm so mad about, can get to the point.
Yes, but I really hope that they hit tab right now. They had enough time right there to just swap one of their supports, but they are not doing it. I don't know if they're tracking the ultimates and are aware that the grab is online, because I do believe this next fight, if they pull it off right, Blue Springs is going to lock down that point, as we do see only the DPS on the side of Wellington have their ults ready to go, but those ults are really great in small areas, and Blue Springs is kind of putting themselves right in the firing zone for the side of Wellington right now by staying so bunched up and moving so slowly. But we do see Turtle go down, but then the Death Blossom comes out, taking out 3 on the side of Blue Springs. Like I said, you're in a small space. You don't want to deal with a Reaper in there, and you really don't want to deal with a Doomfist. So that was a great Death Blossom from Wellington, and it's forcing Blue Springs back to regroup. And there's still nothing on the side of Wellington to counter that Graviton Surge Dragon Strike that is still in the pockets of Blue Springs as we're down to the 30-second mark.
It is going to come down to this next engagement here. Will this combo that we have been talking so much about be used? We will see right now as we are in the final 30 seconds going toward the final point here. Meteor Strike being used by the Doomfist. Casey Vet very low on health, might be taken out by that, but the Doomfist is going to be eliminated. That might clear the way for Blue Springs right now. Gravitic Flux used by Wellington Napoleon. Blue Springs continuing to hold on to their own fifth. Here it comes. There's the Dragon Strike. Are they going to? They are able to take out Wellington Napoleon, moving towards the point here. Going to be able to capture it if they can just clean up these final few eliminations. Bread and Blaze getting eliminations themselves. A Riptire might be the final nail in the coffin that they need, but Wellington Napoleon is respawning right now. Coalescence used is going to be taken out, and so Blue Springs now is going to be able to get the second tick onto that final point, and they finally managed to take it. It was that Graviton Surge Dragon Strike combo that did definitely help them in the end.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's one of those things that everyone falls guilty to, which is, you know, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. And for a while, Blue Wellington had everything on lock. The comp that they had was working great. They did not see that Dragon Strike coming, so to speak, because they did have it in their pocket for so long. I'm pretty sure they were doubting the percent charge that Blaze had. But at a certain point, you do have to give respect where it's due and just admit that Blaze is a gifted DPS player. I'm pretty sure he plays more than just DPS, because before the last 2 years, that's how Overwatch was. Everyone kind of played everything. So Blaze obviously is a force to reckon with, and Wellington needs to accept that he's going to be rotating heroes. They need to be on top of hitting that tab button and creating scenarios where they know they can still win. And they've already made an adjustment slightly here, as we do see that we are having the Lucio come out on the side of Wellington. So if they are trying to do another Graviton Surge combo, the Lucio will be able to take care of that, as well as save anyone if there is a D.Va being used as well. But Blue Springs does not seem to have that D.Va, as they're sticking with their tried and true Ryan Zarya combo.
Yeah, that definitely has worked out for them, and he definitely got a Fear Blaze 22 on this Junkrat. I would not want to push through that choke point with him on the Junkrat.
I 100% agree, and you know, every time I see a Junkrat player when it's in these tournaments, it's someone who knows their stuff and is showing off a little bit, so to speak. They never disappoint, so it's going to create a very, very hard choke point for the side of Wellington to push through, so they're really going to have to utilize that speed and natural cover and hang on to those shields until they get to the point and can bait out one or two players from the side of Blue Springs.
And now we see here those bombs being lobbed over. Wellington Napoleon is going to be taking this side route. Or no, they looked like they were going to take it. They're just going to go up the center. That mine thrown out by the Junkrat is going to split them up. He comes right in there. Nebula is eliminated along with Mattis. And with both of your supports down, you don't have that much sustain to keep going. As Blaze 22 and even Noodles, picking up 2 more eliminations right there, are going to be able to force Wellington Napoleon onto a reset.
So they try to do that fake out and say that they're going to go one direction and then decide to go down mid. We've seen Boise State pull that one off on the Busan Mecha base more than once for sure, but unfortunately, if you don't do it coordinated, your team does slightly split and perform a little bit of a conga line dance, so to speak, and we did see that happen as both the Moira was tailing behind and the Lucio had made it like a Y formation almost, bouncing off to the side and in front of the tanks, and that's something you cannot do as a support player. You're just too gosh darn squishy.
Yep, it wasn't a conga line. That was fun. Ouch. Right now, Blaze 22 throwing that mine in there, putting a lot of damage onto Blue Springs. Vanley is going to be the one who gets the first elimination, followed by Eben Noodles. So a tank, a DPS, and a support are now down. It goes one after the other. Bread and Blaze taking up the last eliminations there, and I can't really see it coming out necessarily another way when you go into a space that small with such small choke points, and Blue Springs has just shown that they are a team that can continually just keep pushing damage onto you when you're bunched up like that, especially with the Junkrat. I just don't like that feeling.
Honestly, I would really enjoy to see Wellington pulling out possibly a Wrecking Ball right now to add more disruption onto the side of Blue Springs, as they are so hell-bent on staying close together right now. Their comp relies on keeping that space very small between each other, so if they're able to create that disruption, create that space, they can throw off the side of Blue Springs, but Wellington needs to pick those heroes that are able to, so to speak, go bowling into the enemy team, and right now they're on their Rhyme Zarya, which cannot do that. They need like a Wrecking Ball D.Va or a Wrecking Ball and Winston combo to just be able to barrier off the main team and the tanks on the side of Blue Springs.
get them down. They did take out the Widowmaker. Good on you, Mason. So that is going to push this next fight into a 5v6 as we see the Coalescence coming out from Nebula and a Shatter as we see Blaze going down and the Transcendence being popped from Blue Springs right now and the fight moving to the point.
And now with the fight on the point, Mattis is going to be taken out by Eben Noodles, who is eliminated by Mason McFly. Now Brett is able to eliminate the other Reinhardt KC vet, picking up the slack there, but Short Stack answering as well. It is back and forth. Wellington Napoleon on the point until Zarya goes down.
I'm not going to lie, these Widowmakers on both teams are actually very scary.
Yeah, they definitely are. They have been able to get some very key picks, answering each other as well as Mason McFly was able to take out the other Widowmaker. Second time he's done it this round.
We do see, however, now it is just a lone Zarya trying to hold point, as it seems like there might have been some lack of communication on the side of Blue Springs as to whether or not they wanted to try and successfully hold that point. As we do see Mason take out Blaze, but then Blaze take out Mason, so that was kind of like a stalemate kill. And we are at one fight territory with only 30 seconds left on the clock, and only the tank ults on the side of Wellington.
Yeah, Wellington is going to have their tank ults. Unfortunately, both of those ults, you know, are used to set up for DPS ults, which can clear the whole team. So, I mean, they've got a lot of CC in terms of what they can use with these ults. But the damage that they need to follow that up, I'm just curious on how they do follow it up.
The answer is easy, and it's called being very scary with the Moira ults. But we do see that Graviton Surge is getting popped, but Lucio is just not quite ready with the sound barrier. And I think both Graviton Surges were popped. Yes, they were, and then the Shatter's going to be coming out from Bread. I think that might spell the doom for Wellington.
Well, Blue Springs taking the overall victory tonight, getting a great win there on 2CP, something we both weren't expecting to see tonight. We were both kind of hoping for payload, but 2CP definitely providing an interesting match for us on Temple of Anubis. Blue Springs, congratulations on your victory there. And I gotta say, some of your players, definite scouting material for universities.
Oh, if you don't think we're already scouting, you're crazy. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, definitely. So was there anything, as I said, before that final round, you know, there were some chances for other players to, you know, prove that they should get player of the game. So has your mind changed at all, or are you still really focused on Blaze 22?
Okay, so I am still going to say that most likely it's going to be Blaze. However, Mason on the other team was popping off. He had some very great ultimates, and you know, I'm very adamant about avoiding that solo keyword mentality when it comes to using those ults, and neither one of these teams really were using them for selfish purposes. They were definitely meant to either help win a fight or to help push back the enemy, and so there wasn't any, I'm just trying to get play of the game here. Coming out from Mason, it was, I see an opportunity, I'm going to take it. So even if you don't get player of the game, you do deserve it, and it is going to be Blaze with player of the game with that insane Junkrat play, and you get to have Baynock's face, that cute smile representing you. So congratulations to Blaze. You did a fantastic job on that Junkrat. Your Jay Silly play is a little bit kooky.
Yeah, it was an amazing performance from him. On fire, Red on fire as well for Blaze. He was just amazing in this overall match here. Can also see Mason McFly, who we were giving props to in that final round. He was very scary on that Widowmaker.
I do agree, and I will give props because I don't know if this was the reference, but Mason McFly sounds a lot like Marty McFly, and I'm a huge Back to the Future fan, so of course I'm giving props to Mason as well. You had to, and plus you went toe-to-toe with the other Widowmaker and did great, and I always appreciate when I see people swapping heroes kind of just to be like, I can still do this too, let me show you. So overall, every player on both sides did a great job. Blaze, you may be player of the game, but everyone on your team did great. So did everyone on the side of Napoleon as well.
Yeah, and here's just a little bit other, and I liked this way to kind of peel them out. This was the conga line that we were saying that went horribly wrong here, but it was that great mine that was pushed right into the middle of Napoleon, Wellington Napoleon. As they went under that bridge, the mine was thrown out from the Junkrat and split the team up, and he went after the one that was peeled off. So some great play there again from Blaze 22.
Yes, and the tanks, everything across the board was great from both these teams.
Oh, his name is Ben. Ben, you did a great job. Your Hanzo was scary. I can't believe you got that much ult charge that fast. Your Junkrat was horrifying to witness. I'm excited to see what other high schools are able to produce if this is what we're expected to see as we continue to cast these games.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be a great thing to show. We will be broadcasting more high school games in the future, definitely. So you're going to want to be able to stay in touch with Boise State Esports into when that happens. And if you want to see when Boise State Esports is having their events and you want to see a schedule, you can go to boisestate.com/esports to get all the information you need on that. And of course, you can also get a Twitch Prime subscription to Boise State Esports by linking your Amazon Prime subscription and getting a free subscription to Twitch Prime as well. And doing that, you get great exclusives, including the access to our back and very large and ever-growing library of broadcasts, as well as exclusive emotes that you can use to help support the Boise State Broncos. And of course, in the most direct way, your subscriptions fund scholarships. So now we are left with just a little bit of looking back at the overall night. And we are going to just go with any final thoughts at all. It was great having you back.
Thank you for having me. We will be, of course, we'll be back next week with more high school games. We'll be broadcasting them from here at 301 South Capitol Boulevard in downtown Boise in our lovely arena. Of course, we miss having everyone here with us, but we'll continue to do our social distancing series and hope that you'll join us too virtually for the remainder of those games as we continue to do those broadcasts.
Well, thank you very much, Nerdy, for joining us. And for Boise State Esports, I'm Jacob Jem Mountain Palmer, wishing you a great night. We will see you next time. Far tonight, and we are going to now look at
engage as you do see Blaze right there looking like they're ready for this EMP to follow to have a follow from Wellington. The question is what Ultimate's going to follow up? A 6-man EMP coming from Blue Springs. That's just dirty. If we do see that Brad has his Death Blossom, he's just hanging on to it, daunting the enemy right now.
My goodness, you cannot ask for any. Taken out by that, but the Doomfist is going to be eliminated. That might clear the way for Blue Springs right now. Gravitic Flux used by Wellington Napoleon. Blue Springs continuing to hold on to their own. Here it comes. There's the Dragon Strike. Are they going to? They are able to take out Wellington Napoleon, moving towards the point here. Going to be able to capture it if they...
But they do have the sound barrier on Wellington, so they can counter that. It's just going to be a matter of, unfortunately for Bio, that Shatter's just not going to go in his favor, but the Coalescence Beam is going to keep him alive through an anti, and the Zen is forced to pop Transcendence while the team is trying to retreat, leaving Blue Springs on the payload.
Blue Springs continuing to...
Other team into all being on point grouped up to allow for the grab to really work, and I don't know if it'll come to fruition, but we'll hope as we see the EMP and the grab and the Reinhardt charge. It was also perfect. Yes, that was incredible. That is what I love to see.
Well, I'm just going to leave it at that because I don't think there's anything.
Springs is kind of putting themselves right in the firing zone for the side of Wellington right now by staying so bunched up and moving so slowly. But we do see Turtle go down, but then the Death Blossom comes out, taking out 3 on the side of Blue Springs. Like I said, you're in a small space. You don't...